connected. All right. How goes it? Hi, this is Daniel with SemperFryLLC.com, home of awesome hot sauce. I'm inviting you to help me celebrate my daughter's 10th birthday with code BDayGirl for 10% off from now until her birthday on July 2nd. You can use it at SemperFry, SemperFryLLC.com. Thank you. Bam. So there it is up there. BDayGirl, 10% off right there. All right, cool. Now you know, and no one's half the battle. Let's get into it. Oh, and I got to do that still. All right, cool. Let's do a refresh on this guy. Oh, no, it's right there. It's perfect. One last step. I like that. Boom, boom, boom. You know, and no one's half the battle. Hey, that's what I just said. He knows what I'm talking about. All right. Biggity bab. Well, we're here. Hey, Karen, what's going on? How are you? Let's see. There's Karen. See Karen? That's Karen. All right. And let's see what else is going on here. We got, just for the kicks of it, let's check out what Kick is doing.
TikTok for a year.
Shish.
And I swear to God, I thought it was you.
Don't ambush me with watching stuff I don't even know. Watching stuff I don't. Yeah. See, he gets it. He knew what he agreed. All right. Oh look, Vav. See Vav? That's 666 in Hebrew for the Aiden Ross character here. Aiden Jutoria. Oh, that's hilarious. He's really doubling down on that whole oive shit. Oh look, yeah. What better thing to do than to mock the murder of Michael Jackson? That's great. Yeah. And it says Iceman? Is that what it says? Sure, it's some groid, but yeah. They do nothing, and they have 2.1 million followers. That's up 100,000 from the last I saw. Or last I cared to pay attention. So that's incredible, huh? Yeah. They provide no value. That's amazing. Okay, anyway. Enough of that. Ooh, I'm going to get a level 2. Whatever the hell that means. Hey, that guy just scratched his head too. All right, let's get into it. All right, I guess I'll put these on. Can't hear myself think now. I can hear the ocean. Oh yeah, that's a problem. This thing crashed again. Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? That's okay because we'll just hit it from a different angle. This will be fine. While we dick around with this. What do I want to start? So I was under the impression this happened in May when I first saw it. It says 71 children from an Orthodox Jewish school have been rescued from underground tunnels connected to a sewer system in New York. The children reportedly got lost during a trip after they began exploring what was down there. Emergency crews responded and were able to safely locate and rescue all the children without injury. See the smile on his face over there? What the fuck was that? He's not unhappy. They're not hostile. They were from an Orthodox Jewish school. Right? Got lost during a field trip. The teenage Jewish Ninja Turtles strike again. 71's an interesting number. I'm sure Christopher Lee Stetler would have something to say about that. And since they were their own, obviously, this inspection was to prove by showing them one section of their underground labyrinth that there's nothing going on down there. Everything's fine. Right? How long were they down there for? Months? Like, come on. Were they eating rats? They are rats. That would be like cannibalism. Yeah, that's they're not the new. They have been that since Conquer. Even though they're not even really the same class, it's just that they utilize that menace that wears peyotes to their advantage. But the upper echelon, billion and billion, and I guess now trillionaires, whether they're fellow travelers, Kabbalists, still jerking around with the same cult, whether they're the Catholics that are entwined with that, or if they're Judaism jerk-offs, they all have different ranks. So these guys down here and the menaces that you see like in Curious Joel, yes, they get a lot of shit that you normally wouldn't, but they're still beneath the Larry Finks of the world and things of that nature. They're still disposable in that sense to them. They're useful. They can leverage them to put pressure on people so they can erode walls that are up there for a reason in societies. And this is funny.
Hey, let's go!
That right there, folks, is what we refer to as a unit. I'm pretty sure I saw Dr. Giraud growing him in a lab somewhere, actually.
Close enough.
I mean, why is it so thick, yet so nimble? It's like if a Taekwondo guy learned acrobatics and then decided to put on 70 pounds of pure muscle to then kick someone's head off. My dude was throwing tornado kicks at people while questioning what it would be like to be 3 times their size while doing it, and then made that dream someone else's nightmare. For heaven's sake, my boy is doing 540 kicks, which is essentially where you kick with one leg while also landing with that leg. And that was a bad one, because I can't do it. I'm sorry, I guess I'm just blown away by his sheer girth and mobility. My dude woke up one day and decided to become a barbarian ranger. I'm 200 pounds. If I touch you with that, it's gonna hurt, if not send you to Night-Nightville. But if that man's toes so much as breathe on an individual,
Amazing grace.
Here's another one.
It's a dangerous and foolhardy assumption.
this is not the first time we've had to have this conversation, and I am running out of ways to properly tell you that you cannot protect yourself from a full-grown grizzly bear, because neither me nor the bear care about whatever black belt you hold, as the damn thing is a master at closed casket funerals. So instead of trying to hand-to-hand fight the bastard and dying in the process, here's something that may help you, as long as you are out in the wilderness with the means to escape and the bear does not feel trapped, nor are you around its children. Maintain visual contact of the animal. Slowly walk away from the animal. It may do a kind of test charge at you to gauge a reaction and inspire fear. Don't freak out. And hopefully after enough distance, the bear feels like it is...
Yes, if you run your prey, right? Anything that's ever had to be hungry sees as an opportunity to not be hungry. So if you act like prey, if you run, then you're not in charge, right? What's the button go? Oh, there it is. Alright, hold on. I was pressing the button like 4 times.
It's done its job and will leave you alone. Counter to that, you can try and scare the bear. I'm really big, don't test me. But if you are in a studio, in a confined space, with a wild animal, trying to do a segment, here are your realistic options. You can adopt the pray to your god stance, the rocking back and forth in a fetal position posture, the play dead. I mean, it just saw you alive and moving 10 seconds ago, but yeah, let's assume that the animal's just dumb. Now, in case you're wondering why the answer is not to run away and get behind something, it is a half-ton wild animal that runs at 35 miles an hour. Good luck.
It's a dangerous and foolhardy assumption.
Bash. Slapped her. Bam! Who's this bitch? Well, yeah, but we got one more.
Don't keep backing up. Just stay relaxed. I'm not going to hit you hard.
The better striker in that situation handled it pretty well. He gave him a good jolt to the ribs, And then when he noticed the guy became a little more timid, encouraged him to pick up the pace and brought back his confidence. The thing is though, that's not going to work for every student you do this to. The fella in black was likely already fairly mentally tough. But let's say this happens to a child or someone with a more flimsy constitution. What do? Here, I'll spell it out for you. COMNU. The rest of the word communication. And quite frankly, it is as simple as this. You whack the fella pretty hard. You see them about to cry and want to quit. You stop the round. You don't pick them up by the chin with this shape of fingers. You let them stand up on their own. This would be really weird. And you say to them, hey, I'm sorry. I'm used to sparring at a higher intensity and I hit you too hard. Let's dial it back and let's get you working on your combos and help you improve. Or in that case, I guess it would be working on his defense, but you get the point. And the reason why you do this is because that person is not expecting to get hurt in the sparring match. And so while not permanent, there is an immediate and intense amount of distrust. And the best way to fix that is honesty. There is nothing wrong with admitting your faults and apologizing for them.
Ready for the real shit now? All right. Everybody alive? Let's take a look. Yeah, we got people. All right, so it's working at least. That's good. And, yep. Slow walk away from the animal. That guy's pretty funny. Slow walk away. Yep. I would have been following him, then I lost track of him, then I finally was back in the feed. Oops, I went the wrong way. Hey, hairy balls. Some names are just funny to say. Where'd I go? There I am. Oh, not that one. Oh, but yeah, since I did land on that, what the Palantir CEO's manifesto tells us about the changing face of WAH. A Palantir post citing CEO Alex Karp's what do you call it? Communist Manifesto called for mandatory military service and closer ties between Silicon Valley and the Pentagon, while criticizing how hollow pluralism, and warning of a new AI arms race. Of course, because that keeps him in business. But his business is CIA. And his business is to be a jester for that. Anyway, but Palantir is just one of the tech companies blurring the lines between Silicon Valley and Washington while growing too big, too fast for traditional oversight. Well, what do you think they would do in the private sector? Nothing. They were built to be a military asset. Where else would they work? They don't have any other purpose. Oh, allow me to gather all that metadata for you so I can threat assess your employees and you can figure out which ones you want to whack first. Like, no, that's not what it... No. Pedestrians walked past Palantir's booth during the World Economic Forum. Of course they did. Of course they would be there. Why wouldn't they? I love when people who have a bunch of the Babylonian curse bucks, the Monopoly death money, get all together and plot your demise, your extermination, and then they televise it because what the heck? What are you going to do? They have control of all the armies and all of the technology. And we could say that we paid for that for them, which is kind of true. But when you realize it's all just a stupid game where money is just created to keep us from ever seeing our own true potential and our own true power, because they convince us through trickery that we owe them something, and because of our goodwill, we feel obligated to pay that back, or obligated to pay something on a routine, recurring basis to them, whatever the case may be where money is exchanged. This need then puts us to occupation in order to maintain the things that we do have, to quote unquote continue to earn it even after it's all been paid for. This is a system of deception And I'm telling you, the only reason why money exists is to keep the people who are powerful and innovative and productive suppressed and without the means to grow into what they can be. It's to minimize and basically, you just think about it like, why do you want somebody to have low intellect? Why do you want to suppress their cognitive functions with fluoride? Why do you want to give them prescription drugs? Why do you want to keep the nutrients that they most certainly need and they most certainly know about it away from their knowledge, out of their grasp and out of their food, so they can't even accidentally stumble upon proper nutrients without supplementation? And then anybody who mentions or provides or suggests that, they've already conditioned you to reflexively reject such a crazy notion, like you would need something from nature in order for you to maintain the highest level of existence you possibly could, with free from illness. I know that's crazy, right? That's crazy. You just need food for calories. That's all. Okay. But these people are not in power because they're better. In fact, that's quite the opposite of the situation. They needed to go through all these lengths of deception and trickery and artificial means to convince us that we are weak, defeated, and, they're the billionaires. They're the billionaires, or they're the experts when it comes to medical, or when it comes to a pretendemic, or when it comes to some sort of bullshit science or something about history that they're going to dictate to you what happened. And it all seems to work out in their favor. It's amazing how you could go 5,000 years and never do anything wrong. Except for those times in the Bible where their demon god shook their finger at them because they weren't being bloody, gory, evil enough. They told them, hey, I told you to kill all those people. What's that guy doing over there? He's one of those people. Chop him to pieces now. Right, that's pretty tribal. That's tribalism. Oh, and I think I might have a video for you about that. I was sent a Ryan Gable podcast the other day. It's on Spotify. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. I'm not saying we're gonna listen to it because there's no maybe I'll make something that has visuals and I'll play the thing so you'll have something to look at while we're doing it, because it's literally just staring at something like this. So hold on. It's called The Secret Teachings. And with Ryan Gable. That Secret Teachings podcast? Is that how it goes? Oh, there's right there. Right from my goddamn face. Goddamn face. Just this one right here. The Cult of Filth and Desolation. Let me go ahead and follow this mofo. Sure. I did fucking listen to it. Oh, I didn't listen to it according to them on my... What a bunch of cocks. He's got a 4.1, 233. Yeah, nobody does that. Nobody does that when you ask them, right? So, okay, hold on. Allow me to explain that. So anyway, let me pull this up. Do it. Open in desktop app. What does that mean? Can I just right click and... Why are they... Oh, man. Spotify is like a... They don't like you to have the standard features when you right click something. They are micromanaging that and limiting your options. That's some bullshit. This is really good. There's a couple of things I would have added to, and some things I would have corrected. But for the most part, it sounded like me talking. And our friend Nicodemus sent that. So this is called The Cult of Filth and Desolation. There's a couple things I don't think are absolutely on the point. And he doesn't know the distance in the future. I'm sorry, the distance in the past to make better overall summations, I guess, of Lilith, coming from Ilu. He calls Lilitu, or whatever the fucking thing is from the Babylonian bullshit black magic. Yeah, that's also kind of true, but the Ilu Limnu, or the evil spirits, that's actually where you're going to get Lilith from El, which was El Jaime, was another name, Gymi, or Elu was also one of her names, Elu. And Ilu Limnu kind of sounds like Illuminati more than illumination, right? Pretty interesting. But yeah, no, if you knew the Edda and he wasn't poo-pooing it or whatever, because I'm sure a lot of people have a bad impression because they're thinking, oh, you mean like that Snorri Sturluson hoopla. How does that have anything to do with it? That's a Scandinavian or Icelandic tale of, bullshittery. No, it's not, though. It's not. It's actually not at all. It's their Gothic Aryan ancestors, and it happened 5,000 years ago, pre-Sumerian. And it was etched in stone in every civilization that they created, which kind of indicates who those people were, who created all those civilizations. But yeah, I would really like maybe for the Patreon. What I'll do is I'll do it with commentary on the Patreon. I'll do that. That is what I will do. See. All right, cool. Looks like he's a daily uploader. All right, so now I can back out of this and go back to mine. So you see how mine's a 4.8, but there's only 17 people who have weighed in. So go on to what do you call it? Spotify, if you're a Spotify user. See, I was getting I go through this thing called Spreaker, which is this right here. So this is where I launch all my broadcasts from. Up until about 2 years ago, it also was up on Spotify. And then Spotify, I believe I don't know. I don't know what it was, because they went somewhere in my distant past and like boom, 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 like wiped out a bunch of my podcasts. And then like as they were saying it says, if this happens again, you're gone. And it's like, I don't even know what you're striking me on. It's like they changed a policy or something. It's usually what the excuse is. Like they changed some sort of copyright policy or whatever the hell the case may be. And they're going to ignore fair use or it's something like they don't like they're going to frame the speech as being not naughty, right? And so I don't know exactly what the problem was, but after that being the bulk of the monetization ad rev that I would get, because more people listen on Spotify than even on Apple Podcasts, at least my show, I let it go because I didn't think to do this, but I was like, all right, well, let's see what happens when I make another parallel channel like this. And yes, this one appears. They didn't suppress this one, but I had close to 3,000 followers on, which is surprising. I didn't realize it was that much on Spotify a couple years ago, and then they took it down. Sons of bitches. I gotta catch up with this, by the way. And they won't let it. They reject the RSS feed that's being sent to them, even though it still shows that it's going there. It's technically not. So I have to do something else about it. So what I did a while back is I said, oh, I gotta change the name if I'm gonna do this, right? So I changed the name to Christos Cast, and that's where you started seeing everything being called Christos Cast, right? Oh, they changed everything. My plays and downloads down 17.7%. Well, I did upload a couple videos there that they rejected for some reason, and I don't understand why. So they kind of helped that along, and I haven't been keeping up with this one either, because until you get to a certain level, they're still putting ads in your videos and taking all of it, even though you're the one providing the content. And then they make you jump through hoops. Look, there's 71 episodes published here already. Consumption hours on Spotify, 215. You need to have 2,000 hours per month. And then 66 out of 1,000 audience on Spotify in the last 30 days. Well, yeah, that's what happens when you don't distribute or you suppress. They don't even let you use hashtags. So I don't know how the hell they work. They're like, oh, we go based off the words in the description. I'm like, how does that work? Sometimes I don't do a description. So I started writing descriptions, and it's like, I have to get through all this before they start sharing the money that they're making off of the ads that they put in the videos. Because they're not just not doing it. They still are. They're just not letting me be in a partner program. But with Spreaker, you open one up and it just boom, monetization damn. Like that. Which is this was like a third of what it used to be on a monthly basis. Maybe not that much. Yeah, it got to that for a while, for a little while. And I was for a long time not even monetizing, just because I just didn't think anybody wanted to be bothered with ads. But then I was like, well, I'll supply the ad. It's like, I do spend a lot of time here. Maybe it'd be a good idea to get something for it. But like when I had the store going, I didn't think about stuff like that. I just did it for the love of the game, man. For the love of the game. And then when it became a necessity to, every bit of my time has to be seen as a productive, bottom line appeaser, then I had to start monetizing it. Because the store is finito now. But the website is not, kids. The website is not. And there's Edward Snowman. Thank you, Edward. And for people who out there, I just realized I have this on the bottom screen because I was doing a little tiny video, I think you saw in the beginning, promo for the website. So it's because of this little girl right here. She's much more little in that picture. We were that day, and for a couple of weekends on Saturdays, we would go out to this place called Saddles for Joy, and they did animal therapy for children with disabilities and things like that. And we volunteered. It wasn't just for kids like that, but I mean, that's what it was kind of intended for. But they would have horses, and lots of horses, donkeys, big, huge turtles, lots of goats, just animals, right? And you could go and pet them and feed them and all that. And you just put a little donation in the jar, and yeah, or you pay for it. I think you might pay for the feed or something like that too. But yeah, we got our shirts, and we're doing our thing. I shoveled poop. I shoveled poop in a big pile. So that was good times. Just haven't been back there. Life gets hectic, So B-Day Girl is for 10% off on my website for those of you who just joined us. And that she is going to be 10. So 10% off for my 10-year-old. There you go. And thank you, Edward Snowman, for being a producer of the Ballbusters broadcast. It is greatly, 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 greatly appreciated. Now, you need to clone yourself about 10 more times. All right, let's see. What else we got? If you can clone yourself, maybe just work on that patent. Be like wicked rich. You will. All right, let's see. Are we still at 233? Yes, we are. And I had something else I wanted to show you because we were going over this lately. So, data processing giant Palantir Technologies on Saturday posted a sales brochure manifesto that called for that called for Silicon Valley to pledge itself heart and soul to the U.S. military-industrial complex. Gee, that's funny that they would merge right now with the demons of the earth that are child killers, and they hate all living things and have no regard for any of it. And they're getting to the point now they don't have to pretend like they do anymore. and they're becoming as powerful and as out in the open about it like they were about 5,000 years ago. How funny how everything goes full circle like that. So yeah, back then our people had stumbled across them or upon them and saw what they were doing to the inhabitants around them, kind of like what they're doing to us and have been for the last 160 years, but ramping it up every so often. Seeing what they did for like 80 years over in, what used to be called Palestine, but now it's called wastelands. Oh, and they decided that they were going to continue the massacre. They just up and decided. I didn't know that they stopped, but apparently there they go. Okay. Anyhow, yeah, maybe we can muster up the courage and the ability, because we have it. Where the reason why they go through all this trouble, as I was saying before, to suppress our minds, reduce our testosterone, take away nutrients, tell us that cholesterol is bad, try to put us on a vegetarian or vegan diet, is all because we've got a lot of what they ain't got, to put it in the most technological terms. And if we can avoid stupid vices and misdirections and bad deceptive practices and get off the prescription drugs and medications and all that, find our power, get in shape, get mentally fit, free from nonsense, and understand clearly, see clearly what is happening to us. And we have to do this in great numbers. We have to pull, assuming that this is organic, we have to pull an Albanian on this, or it's sad that I have to use an outside reference and that it's not something that we're seeing here. We have to pull a full-on Gothic Aryan British Edda. Let's put it that way. We have to go full Thor on these mofos. And the only way anything changes, I'm sorry, let me repeat that. Let me rephrase that. The only way we survive another 3 years on this planet is if we do. Because that's not their projection for us to go any further than that. The vast majority of us aren't going to be having to worry about 15-minute cities or farming or food or an unpoisoned food. It won't matter how much water the data centers are poisoning and using, if they're really even for that, because we won't be needing any of those things. What we'll be what's that word? Fertilizing the soil, basically. Somebody said something about, who was it? I forgot. Mixing our blood with the water for the cooling machines. Anyway, giving it some sort of like blood water memory type soul to power its AI demonic devices. Anyway. Yeah, so we should really be concerned about the whole idea that, do you want to see what happens when drones hit people? Let me do that in between my babbling here, so you could really have a good look at what the hell's happening. I hope I saved it. You motherfuckers. It's some scary shite. Oh, I know. Look, if I don't, there it is. All right, and I did it twice. I was so excited to share it with you. I did it twice. You ready? We need to find more of these. We need to really understand. Like, I've seen these. This is Ukraine, Russian conflict. I mean, just to look at what happened in Pasadena, and just look at what people's response was. Concern, obviously rattled, but still not thinking that shit's real. What happens when it is real? Because you don't perceive things as being an enemy or a threat, because they wear a uniform that you associate incorrectly, by the way. You incorrectly associate them with the friendlies, the people that are there to protect you. You've only ever watched movies and you may be able to join this, and then they don't kill you when they're in your neighborhood drinking at your bar, because that's not their assignment. Their assignment is to go to some other place far away from your vision and go kill people for no good reason over there. Armed, disarmed. Ask anybody who's been in combat how dirty it gets. What the orders are, how things in the heat of action and combat happen. Gotta be sure. Especially in CQC, just when in doubt, blow it apart, right? Close quarter combat.
Warfare will never, ever be the same, dude. This is some scary stuff. This is real footage from Ukraine-Russian war. These drones are crazy. Look at this.
So when it stops and then it goes to the next one, that's because the camera no longer worky because it blow uppy. All right. It says it now costs Ukraine just $882 to kill a Russian soldier. Is a historically low figure and a major reason why over the blah, blah, blah. Okay, you can read that in the bottom if you want. That's the end of that one. See that? This is it.
That's real footage, dude. All those people blown to pieces, dude.
Jews. Jews are the leading cause of death. What do you think is deploying them? If they talk so much about Gaza and the threat assessment kill list of Palantir, basically saying, where are the children? Yeah, let's target them. That's what they did over there. They're not going to stop killing children. This is their MO. Speaking of Lilith, speaking of Elu Limnu, speaking of child killing, this is part of their cult, their tribalism. We need to have tribalism. Of course, we don't need to have tribalism in the sense where our God's better than your God, so let's kill everybody. That's not what I mean. It's how when did that ever become a popularized thing that lasted past the Stone Age? I guess just one time, because most people, or maybe it's because they manufactured this too. Think about this. They're allowed to be the hostile one, right? Judaism, but they have two other Abrahamic religions that are allegedly entangled with them, and both of them allegedly are intended to be forgiving, tolerant, and passive. I know that's not how it always rolls, especially with Christianity, Islam, the Catholic Church. But as far as the people, the followers go, what are they taught? I mean, I get it. There's people that talk about jihad, have jihad every day, jihad with your breakfast, jihad with your lunch. I get that. But also, it's a preaching of, coming to God, coming to this, not you're an idolater, you're a heretic, both heretics a Christian thing too, but it's not usually kill everybody and make them extinct. It's usually like convert them and try to show them the way because you think you got it all figured out. It's still smug. It's still obnoxious. It's still not correct at all whatsoever, because there's nothing farther away from God than the shit that they do in organized religions. Jesus wouldn't have had that. He would have been, he didn't tell you to go to church. Break up, lift up a rock, break a piece of wood. My nigger ass is there, is what he said. So, and that was also, remember we talked about the I am thing before. I'm pretty sure that was to remind us who we're connected to so that we stopped fucking waiting for somebody else to show up, because that wasn't ever the plan, and that was never going to be the way it goes. But when you have Jews writing your shit for you and guiding you and posing as your religious, the heads of your church, but even though they're still the same Saturn cult, well, they can manipulate you to think anything because they're being spoken through the people that you trust. Trusting in institutions and in man, it's not a good idea. Trust in that thing that you sense a little bit more. But this is crazy. This is nuts. Now, this is in combat and far away. Palantir has the capacity, along with all the other AI shit and the drones and yada yada yada, all these other demonic companies. And I'm going to be hearing from Nicodemus tomorrow about something he heard. I'm not going to be sure if ahead of time if I'm going to be allowed to discuss it, because that could be retribution for having made it public. I have to figure out what the whole story is so far, but let's just say it's worse than you think. And the plans and the things that have been like, let's, you know, like the documents or the files or the initiatives that have been sent out in the offices, the debriefings are not going to be good for any of us. They're planning something, and they've got a lot of support behind them, and there's going to be a big sweep a coming, and nobody's going to be the same afterward. And it's going to be very rapid succession, and it's probably going to happen before the end of the month. So there's all that. We're all fucked, basically. But Flag Day is my dad's birthday. You want to know what's interesting about that? Is it's also that jackass Shabbat Lubavitch trader with the orange skin's birthday as well. Let's see. Yes, Donald Trump's birthday is on June 14th, as is my dad's. I'll be celebrating his, not this fucker. Which coincides with Flag Day, interestingly enough. Hey, I'm a president, and I was born on Flag Day. And I'm the last president. What do you know? He was born June 14th, 1946, a year after the horrific bullshit that they did to the Germans. And the Russians, to be honest with you, because that was prior to, but whatever. And, okay, sorry, the Japanese. All these things are horrible, what happened. And then they went off to mutilate and murder a bunch of Koreans, all for the sake of Jays. They can be talking to you, they can be making deals with you, and the moment they see an opportunity, even though they're working with you and everything could be done fine, if they find a way that they can fucking just mutilate the shit out of you, also, they'll do that too. There is absolutely no guarantees. There's no, how do you put that? There's no honor. There's no, they can't be trusted. They're very volatile. And the thing is, it's like, when you look at the way they handled Iran, negotiations, everything's fucking good, and then boom. Or after a conflict, they'll tell you all to meet someplace for a peaceful negotiation, and then just blow it the fuck up. They're coming, guys. They're coming, and they're not even trying to hide it anymore. I'm concerned. I'm a little concerned. This shared date has been highlighted by various national milestones and legislative efforts, such as the Wikipedia Flag Day entry, marking the date's significance for national parks, and proposed Trump's Birthday and Flag Day Holiday Establishment Act. What? Dude, this guy is such the freaking golden calf about every fucking thing that he does. Self-glorifying. I'm surprised he does have statues of himself, doesn't he? Let's see. I'll probably end up finding something else he's selling. Yeah, there you go. Get the fuck out of here.
And staying in Doral, the course recently debuted this statue of the president at Trump National Doral Golf Club. Course managers say the president has not seen this statue yet, but they expect him to be on site Saturday and on Sunday.
That's all you had to say. Was this the enshrining him because he did the whole after his fake? He got a little ketchup on his ear. Uh-huh. Get the fuck out of here. The newest Trump monument disobeys the biblical commandment to flee from idolatry. The Old and New Testament are clear about why Christians should shun a golden statue of a political leader. Yeah, okay, but they're also assholes. Okay, the people who say that shit don't know how to read their own book, and they're not smart enough to not be literalists. Okay, just because you see something and you're like, okay, cool, that's a statue and that's a guy. You're not worshiping it. You know, if you're worshiping Trump, you got problems. You got big problems, and I don't want to know you. But this is just a stupid thing to say because you made a statue in somebody's image. Like I'm going to take both sides here. This is idolatrous. This is golden calf level shit. But it's also to stoke the fire and to incite and to invoke this type of reaction, or is it evoke? Whatever, in people. It's the whole point is to do this so that it lines up with things that happen in those same books because people are that led by them. So, duh. He's a lot skinnier than this dude, you notice? It is a story found in the Torah. Well, that already makes it bullshit. The Bible and the Quran. Moses comes down from Mount Sinai. Again, bullshit. With the 10 commandments that he stole from Hammurabi and made them worse, only to find the Israelites worshiping a golden calf. Well, whatever. Here's the funny thing. Oh, it's a 22-foot. Okay, this is good. After a 22-foot gold-covered statue of President Trump raising his fist, known as the Don Colossus, was dedicated at the Trump National Doral, Miami, last week. Trump ally and evangelical pastor Mark Burns defended it. Of course he did. They're all a bunch of satanic fucks. Give me your money! In a long and meandering post on X. Well, you get it. They're babbling about this, so I figured I'd do this too. This here is 22 feet. Now let's go back, because this is important, right? Before we do that, let's take a look over here. 22. And if our friend is watching, he'll be able to get into this. In Kabbalah, the number 22 represents the foundational building blocks of the universe and divine communication. It primarily corresponds to the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, which is not. That actually diminishes it. Because nobody actually reads Old Hebrew. The pronunciations have been lost to history because it was a bullshit language by a bunch of little shitheads. It only had 8,000 words in it. Anyway, which the stuff that they're speaking now was in the 1800s. It was put together with like Yiddish and some other shit, some spackle, which are viewed as conduits of cosmic energy and the 22 paths of the Tree of Life. And by the way, the original one was written in Greek. Because that's when it was first written, 300 BC in Hellenistic period. The number 22 holds deep, multi-layered significance across several aspects of Jewish mysticism. God used the 22. Why don't they just say it's the 22 paths of the fucking Tree of Life? Isn't that? Yeah, 22 paths right there. That's what I was waiting for. These 22 connected channels represent the subjective ways consciousness flows and spiritual steps and experiences, and the spiritual steps and experiences a soul must take to ascend or descend the tree. Well, I don't know if you've ever been to raves before. I don't know why. I would even bring this up, but for whatever reason, people usually got nicknames, club names. I didn't go for very long, but I went with a group of people each time. So this black kid who was actually pretty cool, except he was still a fuck up, named Shugs, because that wasn't his real name either. He decided to call me Ascent. Not ascending, not ascend, Ascent. A-S-C-E-N-T. So that was apparently my name. The drugs were really good back then. There is a direct mystical correspondence between each of these 22 paths and the 22 Hebrew letters. Sacred text and light. Psalm 119. This isn't... Yeah, okay, so we're good, blah, blah, blah. 3 mothers, da, da, da. 22 major arcana of the tarot. Okay, that's interesting. No, I don't want to know about the Hebrew letter. What I'm looking for is cube and the 2. Let's see. I had this on the screen one time, and I don't know why I can't find it. Oh, because Google changes itself. Oh, by the way, for probably here on out, we're going to not do Chrome anymore. Not that that matters to you, but I'm going to have to take all this and figure out what I want to present and then get it out of here. And then start building the Brave browser up with all my passwords and shit. Because this is going to start rejecting the ad blockers, and I think that might be why this thing continues to crash. Because every time I walk away from the computer for a significant amount of time, I come back and I have to reopen Chrome. And then I started catching videos from people talking about it, and they're going to start forcing ads on you no matter what. They're going to take the extensions and they're going to disable them, and it's going to cause problems if you have multiple things working. So all of a sudden YouTube ads will start popping up and all this other bullshit. So I'm going to skip over that whole thing. And the only fork that actually maintains an embedded ad blocker for Chrome is Brave. So we'll be using that from now on. I had it the whole time. Because everything was already here. I like this. I like the way. So not every browser is created equally, right? So websites look different on them. And some of them, you'll be able to see the views and the other stuff. Like when you're looking at video share platforms, Brave, at least on the phone, doesn't show all that information. And on my phone, if I want to edit because my fucking stupid typing doesn't, I'm typing the right shit. This thing's not sending it the right way. I look back at it, I'm like, God damn it, I want to hit edit. There is no edit. There's no edit on the phone app version for YouTube through Brave. So I have to go into the actual YouTube, go back into that same video, click on my comment, and then click edit. It doesn't make any sense why there would be no edit. Anyway. Yes, here we go. Thank you. When you cube the number 2, written as 2 to the cube, it means, I get that. But actually, this is, whenever they are expressing the 2s, they're referring back to Saturn and the cube. That's what I was trying to get at. Conversely, if you're looking for the cube root, I don't care about that. They're doing math here. Let's try Saturn cube. Let's see. I'll just be blatant about it. Or Remfan cube. The Saturn cube is a prominent concept in esoteric symbolism, linking the planet Saturn to the geometric shape of a cube. The number 2 frequently enters this narrative through the principle of duality, the split between the spiritual and the material and the two-dimensional shadow of a cube. Esoteric symbolism with numerology and in occult and conspiracy theories, the cube represents the material restrictive world of time. In numerology, 222 signifies spiritual alignment, balance, and the presence of guardian angels or demons. The occult connection. Angel numbers. Maybe I have to do like a 2+. I don't know. Whatever. I'm Tired of it already. Let's go back to this article. The engineering elite of Silicon Valley. Right. So Palantir posted a 22-point summary, 22-foot statue. Where's the executive order from? No, the one we don't last more. I'll just put EO. All right. Did I say sign? I said Joe Biden's EO. He did not sign any executive orders on the 22nd during his but however, on the very fucking thing that you were referring to, he issued it. Fuck you. Fuck you. Why? Why do you have to be a cocksucker about everything? God damn it. Get out of my face. President Joe Biden, blah, blah, blah. Why don't they just show me the EO? I don't want to see the people talking about the EO. I want to see the fucking EO. Do I have to go to whitehouse.org? Can they not just send it to me house.gov? That's not it. I don't want to hear somebody talking about it. I want to see the on the writing on the paper so I can prove it to you that it's there. Fucking motherfucker. I hate everything. Another reason to stay. Well, no, it'll still be running through Google. So maybe start page. Start page is bullshit too, though. I figured that out already. All right. So the same thing I just said, but with whitehouse.gov. Is that what I got to do? Don't you guys know that I'm doing a live stream? Google. White hose. Joe 22. Joe and 22 are not in there. What the fucking hell? Is it just do things just hate me? What the fuck? No, there was one at 2:22 p.m. It was 2:22 p.m. on February 22nd. Is my whole fucking point. Here. 2:22 p.m. FEB 22nd 2022. Joe Biden. Somebody's gonna fucking say something about that. Shortly after. On February 22nd, 2022. Shortly, I really don't want to see the AI fucking summaries. I don't like those. I mean, they're convenient, but then you don't ever click on anything because you look at that instead, and that's fucked. U.S. President Joe Biden described the events underway in Ukraine as beginning of Russian invasion, and he announced new sanctions to punish blah, 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 blah. Yes. Okay. Biden begins to sanction Moscow for the beginning of blah, blah, blah. Okay, so there we go. And they're not dicking me around because I had to give it every last little fucking detail before they would like, oh, yeah. Dude, Gemini is an asshole. Google's an asshole. I hate everybody. But the whole point is, they use the twos a lot. It's killing the points I'm trying to make because it takes too long to get to it. All right. Speaking to 22 points. The Technological Republic by CEO, which is just a fraudulent title for a guy who does a lot of cocaine and has sex with other men's butts. Alex Karp and Nicholas Zimiski. The stakes, it said, could not be higher. So, another reason why we should be watching. Where did it go? Is it that? Why am I not seeing it now? I didn't delete it. What the fucking hell is going on? So this thing, right? The open Spotify, the Spotify thingamabop. Let's do a refresh. I should have that guy on there too now. Secret Teachings. So with this episode here, he gets into who brings this debauchery, who brings this, what is the major player of promoting these deviant, perverse lifestyles and driving them home, hitting you over the head with them constantly. Where does it all come from? Where does it all stem from? The filth, the disgusting, the depravity. Who is the one that brings you all the pornography? So, yes. When you have that element and you know that carp is it's just, they're all in tech bro shit now. Like all of these people who, this is their month, kids. This is their month. Remember we saw that one about, hey, if you have, flu-like symptoms after being railed in the ass, don't worry. We saw that one the other day. Public service announcement from June, for the month of June. The question is not whether AI weapons will be built, it is who will build them and for what purpose. Well, if the Jews are everywhere, then they're always going to be, competing because it's fun to who can kill the goys first. But if you guys weren't on the planet at all, I don't know if anybody would really need to go through the AI route because of the obvious dangers of being so stupid as to hand over the reins of control to something and be submissive like that. It's a surrender when you hand over control. If something's autopilot, you're no longer in control. If something and then it's your fault. It's your fault if something happens because you relinquish your responsibilities. If there's no human oversight in things, and by the way, if the people don't agree to this, I don't mean the stupid people. I don't mean the people lining up to get chips in their head or to get shots in their arms. Or to, think that, or to rush to vote thinking that that's going to fix something. I'm not talking about those people because they don't get it. They don't weigh out the consequences. They don't think too far ahead. They don't have any foresight. And they barely have any hindsight, which means they don't learn anything and become more wise. They just continue to do the same base level shit, and they're predictable. And if that's the majority of people, well, we don't want a democracy, do we? So they shouldn't be speaking for us when it comes to whether or not we want AI to just take over everything. Oh, that's the innovation. It's the neatest thing. That's how it was sold. Yeah, it could be the last thing too, or it could just completely fuck shit up without having to kill. It could lead to death in a stupid way. Being in charge of things that ruin the food supply, and we'll talk about that a little bit too. They have automated things for all kinds of farming, which means there's no human touch. There's no contact with nature. There's no soul in anything. And your food is going to suffer from that even without the poisons. There's no symbiosis going on. People don't understand. Well, they might actually understand, and that's why they're separating us from it. By the way, they hate farming. They hate agriculture. So if they're going to provide any type of food at all, of course it's going to be poisoned because that's their that's their cynical dark mockery. You want it? Here you go. That type of thing. Oh, kids like sweets? Well, just about every candy is full of fucking poison and harmful dyes. Like, coloring dyes. Our adversaries, which, again, they're only adversaries when it's him talking, when it's a guy like Carp talking, we should be their adversaries. But the thing is, we don't even know that there's a fight going on, most of us. And if we remember that they happen to, claim Judaism, then the last thing we're going to do is even consider publicly saying aloud that they're the enemy. No way. No way. We'll just figure out a way to try to please the demon that can't be pleased. We're going to lower ourselves to try to cater to the sodomite who's a schizophrenic, drug addict, homosexual. That guy. This is how people think, though. I know that's what they do. They think that if they just stay out of the way and stay quiet, they can move on. They can carry on with their life, and nothing will happen. You know, a lot of people thought that the Jews kill a lot of people, or they sent other people in that region of the world who are more representative of the population. They threw a bunch of money and guns at them and told them to go kill people, and they did. Every single time. But do you think that any of that stuff would happen organically if it wasn't for the element of the funding and the enabling, basically, that they do? They amp them up. They propagandize the shit out of them. They tell them it's us. It's either you or them because they're coming for you. And boy, oh boy, did you see what they did to all of your tribe's children or whatever? They'll say something stupid like that. Look at all these atrocities that they committed in your name. And when they're not, when the like somebody in South Africa isn't going to give a shit about, do you know what they did to us in those camps? That's not going to work. They don't give a fuck about what happened to you in your camps. Who cares? So they have to make it personalized. And, you know, there's also a lot of low out there who are animalistic as it is. So when you have people who typically only have access to a spear and they're in a sparsely populated area and they wouldn't dare tread outside of their little territory where they do stupid shit, and maybe they're very brutal to animals, and you know, maybe they're cannibalistic to other tribes, but they don't really engage with the other types of different life. You know, somebody who lives in a house, somebody who wears clothing. So when you push all that together, you have that hostile, animalistic asshole, rapey piece of shit, and you gave him a gun, and you clucked, or you had some interpreter tell him shit about those white settlers over there, take their land, take their children, all that stuff. Bad stuff happens, and it's all the Jews going like this. Oh boy, yeah. Just to wreak havoc and kill. Do they ever get their hands dirty? No. No, they like the idea of putting out the lawn chair in the field and watching the blood flow into it. Our adversaries will not pause to indulge in theatrical debates about the merits of developing technologies. He's always talking about these enemies. He's always got that freaking... Alex Karp is always talking about the... what do you call them? I forgot what not the investors, the... I forgot what he kept on referring to. But his critics or whatever, he was saying he wanted to do all kinds of horrible things to them, sprinkle, I think it was, sprinkle fentanyl-laced urine over them with drones. I forgot what the fuck is the actual word he said? Let's see what we've got over here. Hey, I was watching Edda's Reborn earlier. I started with episode 7 intro. Well, no. Episode 7 is for the makers of civilization and race and history. You started at the end of the book? Yeah, no, at the very bottom of the thing, it says episode 7 of the Edda, makers of civilization intro. So it's the end of one book and the beginning of another. And then after that, you see all the makers of civilization stacked above it. Yeah, start with the one that has Ellie Waddell at the very bottom of the stack. No, it's not my book. It's Lawrence Austin Waddell's. Hey, Tiki. Dan wrote Priestcraft Beyond Babylon. Lawrence Austin, L.A. Waddell translated and did the British Edda about a century ago. They are the deceivers, the well poisoners, the openers of the gates. Yes, and so was Trump with the merger. He just Visigothed our ass. What's that, 1,200 years now? Well, wasn't it from like 700 to like 1580? Something like that. Maybe it was 800 years. Brave browser is a no-brainer. Ad and tracker blocking. Yeah, I know. I use it on my phone all the time when I don't want to have to keep on skipping, hit and skip when I'm listening to videos on YouTube. So I get the notifications on my YouTube. So you know how like an Android phone, like when you have a notification, it comes up from the installed app. Well, the installed app is going to be running Android Chrome, so I just jump on it and then share it to copy a link, and then I open up Brave and I paste it in there and I watch it there, so I don't have to listen to commercials or get interruptions. Let's see. Brave, ad tracker block. It will import your Chrome settings, passwords. I think I already did that, to be honest, because I just started opening up and logging into all of my YouTube accounts just before the show. Yeah. yeah, an ad surveillance delivery system. You got it. Thanks for naming and shaming. Yes, sir. Thank you for the great content. Wow. Holy crap. A double high five from the chest by Bushmaster? Whoa. Thank you, sir. How are you doing this evening? I need to get right back to... That's not it. Oh, actually, let me see what Karen had to say. I believe there were evangelical pastors bowing and praying at the Trump statue. I think the evangelicals made it too. Yeah, well, that's the Christian Zionists. Of course they'll bow to the statue. And that would mean, yeah, okay. That is literally idol worship, I guess. But I mean, do you think God really gives a shit about retards? See, this is the funny thing about all of this. If you actually believe in a benevolent creator, none of the behaviors of the God in the Old Testament, and actually maybe some in the other, match up to what you would perceive as a benevolent creator. My God is a jealous God. Why? What is he jealous of? What other gods are out there that he needs to be jealous of? Or of your attention? Why does he have... Isn't he God? Couldn't he make everybody like in one little area so they could look at, like, okay, if you never show your face and you never tell anybody whether they're on the right track or not, what do you expect if people don't? And if you created everything, if you created everything, then even if you, I don't know, worship some other concept that technically isn't him, it still is, because your attempt was to worship that thing which created you. And therefore, even if you have the details wrong, you're still worshiping the same thing. If that were the case. Although, Emily, I just think it's stupid. Why would if God's jealous, we got problems, because that's a pretty powerful thing to be mad at you. And it's kind of stupid too. Like, why is he so insecure? I don't want an insecure God. I really don't want an insecure God. That's a dangerous thing. It seems like kind of a shitbag and a fuck up when you start reading the OT, or even the Lunar Kabbalah. Like, he was a waiter. He was a waiter on his first day, and he couldn't even balance his tray with the glasses of water or his vessel, he cracked them. He cracked all the vessels. He dropped the tray. Is that what the word? For right now, I can't. For some reason, words are fucking with me again. You know how I have bad days. Everything's effed. I have to. Everything's effed. And have you been to a rave? The drugs were really good back then. That baby left. Yeah. Let's go back over here. Bushmaster said nothing? He had nothing to say? Hang out with us. Thank you, Bushmaster, very much. And I don't have anything from YouTube. I tried to make YouTube work. It looks like we got one person watching. It could just be me with a tab open. So hold on. Before we go any further, let's get 36 seconds to this deer that Nicodemus had in his backyard. There you go. There's a word that's stuck in my brain, and I was hoping that it would shake out by now. Analysts. Thank you. Analysts. So his adversaries, he always claims, are the analysts who doubted him. And just like a crazy, like, asshole. Like, he didn't have anything really to do with Palantir. I don't know how many people understand. Like, this was more of Peter Thiel's deal. It's like, if you were building a car in your garage, Peter Thiel didn't exactly get his hands dirty to put things together, but he assembled the people and gave them and he didn't really even do that either. It was like the CIA did that and put Peter Thiel on as the name of that, and then Thiel just kind of like was like, okay, Karp is going to handle this. Take my name a little bit further away, but everybody knows what it is. It's like everybody takes a lot of pride in the things that they didn't actually do. That's the other thing I can't stand about these people. Is they co-opt everything and then they act smug, like because they were able to steal it from somebody or because they got it easy, and they look down on you for having to do things yourself because that's labor, and they hate work. That's part of the thing that they refuse to do. In Russia, they wouldn't till the land, they wouldn't do anything because it's beneath them, and the Kahal would look down upon them if they did. There's another subsection of the Kahal, another word I think that also starts with a K, and right now I can't remember what it is, but of course I would think about it. So our adversaries will not pause to indulge in theatrical debates about the merits of developing technologies with critical military and national security applications, the company said in its post on X. I just find it interesting that we're supposed to take seriously what should be, like, social media should be for young adults, and that's it. Like, why are you using it for anything else? I guess if you're promoting something, but would you really take something that someone states on a social media platform as serious as something that was press released? Isn't it more formal and more, I don't know, official when it's released from an office of something rather than I got on Twitter? Like, why are we even like worrying about analyzing that? But the scope of the post went far beyond the usual corporate goal of chasing after defense contracts. Why would they have to? They're literally created by the CIA. They're not chasing after anything. They're not trying to outbid, or it's like, this is all jokes. This is all for the people who don't understand how the game works. Going on to propose, unless the CIA just like spins out all kinds of these types of ideas and then may the best one win. But come on, Palantir shouldn't even be a thing in and of itself, because you would think artificial intelligence, or the concept thereof of AI, how is that standalone from the very element that organizes the metadata so that AI can make sense of it? Shouldn't that all be one thing? Why is it two separate things? It's like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you scoop something with a shovel, you can still tilt the shovel and dump it out. But they've got a whole apparatus for dumping the shovel. But you're just the scooper. Like, what? Anyway. Let's see. Defense Council going on to propose the introduction of a mandatory U.S. national service. Proposed the introduction of a mandatory. Well, guess what they have in Israel? Mandatory military service. And now they're merged. So, do you not think that this is going hand in hand? The same people he was helping murder children for the last two plus years are coming here. What do you think their plans are when they get here? What do you think just our military's plans are? At least the ones that control the military's plans. Civil war to civil war. One to another to the end of us. Or we fight back before they get all ready, I guess, but I don't know. Sounds like those drills out in LA and Pasadena. It was actually Long Beach and Pasadena, and nobody that I've seen has been talking too much about the Long Beach one. They're just pointing towards, oh yeah, that one was an empty building. So there must not have been anybody there. It's like, is that assumptions? Like, did anybody go and check? Was there any blood splatter all over the fucking place when they walked in? Was there actual bullet holes in the walls rather than, just shooting blanks? Like, did anybody actually inspect it to see what they were actually doing in there? Is there any evidence of actual live fire during that? Anyway. Mandatory U.S. national service and an end to the post-war neutering of the Japanese and German militaries. Well, it's because they Jewified them already. They still hate the Germanic people just fine. Don't think any different. It also suggested a more muscular role for tech companies in fighting violent crime. This guy who sits on dicks, he wants a more muscular role for the tech companies that he represents in fighting violent crime and denounce the ruthless exposure of the private lives of public figures. He wants to be involved in fighting violent crime. What does a Jew a Jew who hates you and wants you to die and is constantly playing the victim, and even if you just simply present the reality of a crime or an event that occurred the way that you perceived it, rather and that you actually saw it because that's the way it was, and they have already decided that it happened a different way, which your eyes would have to be. You couldn't have actually witnessed it and come away with the same story, right? You simply just stating what was obvious and what you saw. If it involved them and they didn't want that to come out, you're an anti-Semite. And that scares people. Well, it should when it comes to them sending drones to murder you or poison you, or they poison your drink because it's all espionage too, or your toothpaste. Like, this is actively happening in our world, in our place. All the shit that we heard about, people thought, oh, that's kind of cool that they were, or that's kind of creepy or fucked up. I'm glad it happened over there. Whenever they hear these stories about how the clandestine operations of the American agencies would take out leaders, all the ones that were probably pretty good for their countries, but not so not so good for their bottom line and their control. Because remember, this is the Jewish intellect again, or the Jewish mindset again. Every place that they've gone and they've wiped out a leader, what has happened? Stability? Prosperity? No. Whenever they try, there's been other countries that tried to nationalize their natural resources and they were killed almost immediately. So I guess there were other ones that had that idea. So he wants a more muscular role for fighting you and calling it violent crime. He's not going after Tyrone. He's not going after the Carmelos. He's going after white Europeans, European ethnicity, and denounced the ruthless exposure of private lives of public figures. No, he doesn't care about that. He wants to know everything about you. The document's final points have proved some of the most controversial, having slammed what is described as the elite's intolerance of religious belief. The post called for the U.S. to reject a vacant and hollow pluralism. Certain cultures and indeed subcultures have produced wonders. Others have proven middling and worse, regressive and harmful, the post read. Just which culture those might be remained up to the reader's own judgment. Well, you can't have a Judaism as strong as it is without Christianity. And I'm not talking about because of the spiritual aspect. No, I'm talking about because of the mental control they have over the people. the control that they have over people. That they're manipulating both. As they are. I'm not familiar as living. I've never lived as a Muslim, so I don't go to that immediately or reflexively. But I know from the majority of what you see here, or at least in my encounters with life, the Judaism and the Christianity and the Catholicism. You look back in history, the two biggest thorns in the Roman sides were the very violent Christians and the very violent fucking Jews. And it's funny that there was such a crossover there when it comes to who actually founded the quote-unquote church. Alternately ridiculed for its would-be warrior poet prose and pilloried for its full-throated support. Who the hell wrote this gay shit? Full-throated support, and it's a faggot that they're talking about of U.S. militarism, even as the world reels from the shockwaves of the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran. The backlash owes much to the already ominous cloud hanging over the company that posted it. See, it doesn't matter what they've done, and it doesn't matter what he says, and it doesn't. I guess what I'm trying to say, it doesn't matter how fucking kooky he is. We could laugh at him as the person. He has more power than probably people that could prevent the slaughter of Americans. They put this guy in there for a reason. They put Teal is where he is for a reason. I don't think Trump has any fucking. He's of no effect unless he's allowing shit to happen, which he is. That's what he's doing. He's like Swiss cheese. He's, how you strain things when the water comes out. He's like that. Everything goes through the other side. He makes the calls and writes the EOs that he's told to do. But he's not the be all end all of anything. These managers of the corporation still have to answer to their board and whomever else is above that. Optimizing the kill chain, launched by a libertarian. Everybody's a libertarian. Launched by the most misused stupid word I'd apply. The launched by libertarian tech billionaire Peter Thiel. Palantir famously takes its name from the Seeing Stones. We know this. When it gets repetitive, it gets boring. Of J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings book series, rescued from the island kingdom of Westernesse. These stones allowed the men of the West to see and speak across vast distances, binding the realms of their Middle-earth colonies to one another until plague and civil war saw them slide into ruin. Well, they would be the ones creating the plague in this scenario, and they will probably most certainly launch the civil war that we won't probably start on our own because it seems like we don't have initiative to do shit. And it's not like I'm not saying that's the best idea anyway, or it's all in how it's done, right? But they'll have their insights. They'll incite something. They'll put something into motion. They're not going to wait around for something to be organic. They're going to set it up so that it happens a certain way. And there's usually always boots on the ground people to ensure that they get exactly the outcome that they want. Like when you see quote unquote school shooters, but everybody says that they saw SWAT looking guys walking around shooting kids. That type of thing. Probably IDF. What Palantir does is more. It's not funny, but I would prefer to think that it was something fucked up like that than somebody who works in local law enforcement or the military shooting kids in a school. What Palantir does is more mundane, though its scope seems as wide-reaching at times. Palantir provides its customers with data processing software that allows them to pull together information scattered across different platforms and formats. By doing this, analysts can pick out complex patterns that would otherwise remain buried in the raw data and refine their work accordingly. And then they can refine their work accordingly. It is the nature of these clients and the use to which these tools are put that have earned Palantir its somewhat sinister reputation. The U.S. government remains its main client. Well, where else would they go? And using its services extensively through its military intelligence and police forces. Military, intelligence. Former Palantir employees are among those criticizing its partnership with the administration of the U.S. President Donald Trump. That's kind of... But for what, though? Because he's the Jew puppet, and the people that are criticizing Trump for what his public persona is supposed to be, which is a Republican man of America making it great, because that's all bullshit. So they shouldn't be criticizing him for the facade of his persona. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. He's doing everything that they want him to do. Like, oh, that President Trump guy? Really? It's like the first 2 years of his term, and then everything went to shit. First term. And I don't think it was all that great then either. It is because he did the red flag laws in 2017, boosted those up. Take the guns first, due process second. Take the guns. Is more scrutiny needed for AI? Who cares? I don't want to follow everything. Palantir's products have been widely used by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, baby, agency in carrying out the mass of often violent deportations of undocumented migrants. I don't care how violent it is, as long as they're actually migrants and they're illegal. I don't give a fuck how violent it is. The Department of Homeland Security awarded Palantir a nearly $30 million contract last April to build an AI-powered system that would allow the agency to track people to be detained and deported. Washington's close allies also number among the company's clients. The UK agreed to pay the company more than $405 million to help the National Health Service process patient data. That's not good. The UK. Okay, well, I mean, here's the issue with them messing around with your medical data. Of course, they already know because of insurances what you have and haven't had, as far as what they will insist you have. When things start closing out, when food starts only being in one place and they're telling you can only get there if you have injections and everything else is poisoned or gone, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? You're not going to get the shots, right? So that means your family and you starve to death because you refuse to let them poison you or inject God knows what type of microtech in your, or whatever. It could just be metal pieces that they can excite with their towers when they emit EMR. So, I mean, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. And Palantir is going to know goddamn well that, whether or not you really did have it or not. Because a lot of people got waivers. Not so much waivers. They got people signing off saying that they got the shots during that time where they wanted you to have the big bad voodoo daddy of shots, which they all are, by the way. And if you think that just because you reject one shot that they wouldn't, if they had this new poison that they really wanted or technology that they really wanted to stuff in you, that they wouldn't put it in everything. They don't have to disclose shit. So just because you didn't take it because it said the word COVID on it or whatever, well, I'll take the flu shot, or I'll take the tetanus though, or I'll take the MMR or whatever. I'll take the peptide. I'll take the Ozempic. If you're pinning yourself with anything, you don't know what the hell's in there. And you don't have a lab to figure it out. And also, it's a bad way to do any type of administration of any type of drug. First of all, drug is the problem. Second part is you're passing your digestive system, which is supposed to attack, neutralize, or break apart and break down poisons and filter them away from your body. Not let it go straight into your bloodstream. So if there's harmful things in there, to pass through the digestive process is supposed to break down and eliminate the majority of the problems that will arise from having ingested it. But shooting it right into you, that's just a massive shock to the system. Not a good idea at all. Not natural, not good. Perhaps most controversially, Palantir has also supplied Israel's military with AI-powered analytics tools during the brutal Gaza campaign, which killed more than 70,000. That's a low number. 70,000 Palestinians, according to the UN figures. Well, that figures that those would be the UN figures. That really does figure. And left much of the besieged territory in ruins. Holding its annual board meeting in Israel in 2024, Palantir signed a strategic partnership with Jesus Christ. No, not with Jesus Christ. With Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government to strengthen the country's war effort. So, does it bother anybody? Like, I'm sorry, but before we even go any further, does it bother anybody that the same company that does this type of job, fills this type of need, which allows them to more efficiently murder children or anybody, is completely 100% integrated into our country's military and Netanyahu? So this merger was already merged before. You see what I mean? Like, the whole thing has always been, we created Israel before they were, they were called corporations then too, but they also, mafia and corporation, what's the difference? Really, what's the difference? Mafia is also based on a fraternal order Kabbalist type of thing. There's a blood ritual, you just cut your finger. It's all this weird shit. It's very Jewish, even though they try to pawn it off as Italian, just because Mazzini was in Italy. Okay. But yeah. They've been integrated in more ways than one. We're the ones that created Israel in the first place, but it's really fucked up that this happened and now Trump merges. Like, really, they already were sharing all the information because Palantir is the common company here that's handling all the data. How do you honestly think that? Oh, I'm sorry, these guys are over here. Well, at least they knew all of the fucking secrets, right? They knew all of that information themselves. So what does that make them? More powerful almost, right? Because they have all that dirt and all that data. I would think, one would assume. Now, Israel being well beyond any shame or embarrassment or fear for its existence should any bad press come out from whatever they're doing, because they'll just go double down on you about your anti-Semitism and gaslight the fuck out of you, because they can do all wrong, but it's never wrong. And other people can do no wrong, but it's always wrong. Don't you get it? To strengthen the country's war effort. So yeah, they've already been integrated in multiple ways. The company has not shied away from its militaristic bent. Yeah, no shit. Palantir Chief Technology Officer Shyam Sankar, who was recently commissioned as a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve, told the New York Times, anybody with that name shouldn't be in our military. I don't care. I don't care if it's been multi-generational. I mean, maybe if it's multi-generational, I guess. But does that actually represent what the country was founded on and founded by? And does that sound like an ethnic European name? It doesn't to me. Like those people who are representative of us, military is maybe not as, because I question their loyalty, especially if they just fucking showed up. I question their loyalty. I question how hard they would fight, and I question what they would fight about and fight for. And knowing that this is a Jewish-run system, it's 10 times worse to have people who are obviously not beholden to any type of ancestry here. That bothers me. So they shouldn't be. So as far as, ethnic European, yes, every single judge, every single police officer, I would go so far as to say every single teacher. I don't like the influence of, this is our country, this is our identity. And when good leaders are leading and good teachers are teaching, everybody benefits, because that's how our people have always ran. You're going to get a better education. People are going to care about you, even if you don't deserve to be cared about and you become a shit. Usually we're quite efficient about handling that too. But people will be started off treated well, because that's what our people have historically done to all people, until individuals have proven that they don't deserve that gesture, and then they don't get it anymore. They don't get the respect that they don't deserve. Let's put it that way. They don't, instead of being afraid of them and their race and offending their race, their tribalism. No, fuck all that. You don't get tribalism from people who don't have an ancestral root here if you don't let them take positions of power and influence in your country. Also, if you don't have Jews in your government, because they're the ones actually creating that and pushing for all that political bullshit to give them that sense of entitlement and tribalism, because that's what they have. You can think about it as, let's see. You can think about it that as what the fuck? You can think about that as you're optimizing the kill chain from sensor to shooter. They call it doctrinally, but it's the same thing as, how do I find the enemy targets? He told the paper. Let me try this again, because I was reading ahead when I was reading this. You can think about that as you're optimizing the kill chain from sensor to shooter. They call it doctrinally. Yeah, well, what do they call it? You didn't state a statement that, what is it that they're calling doctrinal? Well, but it's the same thing as, how do I find the enemy targets? He told the paper. The West against the rest. Is this still going? No, I'm not going to do this anymore. The other thing I wanted to show you was Anduril. Remember that little fag with the flip-flops? Anduril, the Palantir AI enabled. Did we talk about this before? The Gotham Foundry. Yeah, we did go through this before. So maybe I'm done with it. Extended mission autonomous surveillance drones. Ghost in the air. Extended mission autonomous surveillance drones. We saw what drones do. They're gonna be on the water too. We've already gone over that. The Ghost Shark is an extra large autonomous undersea vehicle co-developed with Australia under AUKUS, Australia, UK, and US. Is that what I'm looking at? Supported by a dedicated Sydney factory. Australia signed a contract. Oh, that's, what's also funny about that whole thing about Palantir being in the middle of both Israel and the US when it comes to their military. So you know what the third one was? Just to kind of tie it all into Bank of England, Federal Reserve, creates Israel, their baby. The other one was Britain. Australia signed a contract on the order of $1.1 billion for Ghost Shark, and Anduril opened a manufacturing facility in Sydney with its first production deliveries occurring in early 2026, making it a flagship program and a model for the distributed allied production. Huh. I want to see what that looks like. What's a Ghost Shark? Extra large autonomous underwater vehicles for long-range undersea missions, kinetic counter-drone interceptors. Counter-drone, they make the drones and they make the drone interceptors. We need to get some anvils. We need to stock up on anvils, and we need our own. We need our own drones. If we're gonna be droning things, we got a drone versus drone, in a drone cage match. AI powered border and perimeter surveillance towers called Sentry. AI powered border and perimeter surveillance towers. Have you seen the borders already? The razor wire and all that. I'm not even thinking it's going to be like just for between countries. They're talking about geofencing with enforcement. You want out of that smart city? Your car just stopped. It's not letting you go. And why even bother having a guy at the why having a guy why bother having a guy with a rifle at the tower, the lookout tower, when they could just have something that never misses, you know? Something that never ever misses. Firing down at you. Sentry tower. This is not the Panopticon, though. I promise you, it's totally not the Panopticon. Billion cameras, you'll never be able to move. They'll pin you down with gunfire and drones. Yet we're gonna be able to fight them back and we're gonna be able to make demands and yeah. Ask your local congressman. Write him a stern letter. Go for it. Bolt is a man-portable autonomous aerial vehicles. So you can fly in the air with like a wings. That'd be cool, like a hoverboard. That'd be pretty sweet. You've seen those hovercrafts, they actually work, right? Those are pretty awesome. Altius tube-launched autonomous air vehicles suitable for ISR and strike roles. Roadrunner, we have those around here because it's the desert. We got lots of Roadrunners. They're so cool. They don't look like the Roadrunner from the cartoons, though. Sorry. Reusable autonomous interceptor for counter drone and counter cruise missile missions. I like it. We need one of those. And then the Fury is an AI-powered autonomous collaborative combat aircraft that moved from clean sheet design to flight test in roughly 365 days. Is there any more? All right, so Gotham is the intelligence and defense operations. Foundry is the enterprise and industrial data integration. And Powers Maven, smart system across 5 combatant commands, supporting over 20,000 military users across dozens of integrated tools. Yeah, Maven is another word that we need to keep our eye on. Deployed by Boeing Defense is the Foundry and AIP. Generative AI deployment integrates large language models. We talked about that one already. A while back. Kill chain, kids. Kill chain. That sounds very. That doesn't have a sound like it's a very rosy outcome. They just lay it out in front of us. Because what are we gonna do? Oh, this is for someone else. There is no someone else anymore. We're the only ones left. They already used our military and our sons and daughters and our grandfathers and our grandparents to basically die in ritual, but also to acquire more territory for their power to expand. And they're pretty much done. And they pretty much indebted everybody to where they had to give up their natural resource mineral rights in their ground to a corporation rather than nationalize them for the people so that they'd have a fighting chance at survival on this planet. They're all done. And anybody who did go that route, defy them, nationalize their oil, go for the dinar to make it even worse, make it even better actually, but make it worse for the Oive, who demands total and complete ownership and control over every fucking thing. Wouldn't it be nice to have a time machine? There's some key times in this world where we could have said, and then got the people rallied when they still had the heart in them to do so. And they would not be here now to bother us. It's a great memory. And you know what? Germany would still be Germany with, I don't know, Adolf's great-grandson. How would that be? Find, fix, track, target, engage, and assess. They like asses. Yeah, it's because they like to pump them in the bum. The Anduril Palantir Consortium. And yeah, I don't care about that. That's just them talking. Palantir's Maven and Titan systems provide theater-level intelligence integration and targeting, while Lattice connects frontline sensors and effectors, allowing intelligence products to flow directly into automated or semi-automated targeting pipelines. I do believe I may have heard my chillins in the house. So just give me a second. I want to get back to these guys in just a second too. We're gonna get back in. I promise. But I wanted to show you some of the shit that's going on and coming our way. I'll jump back into that in just a minute. But this isn't a video, is it? No, that would be too cool if it was a freaking video. Assholes. What do I got here? I don't care about that. I cared for a second. Hey, good night. Good night. I have to get back to hot gardening. I have to get back to hot gardening chicks on YouTube. They're the man. You're the man. You're distracting me. I got hot gardening chicks to watch. Nice. Yeah, gardening's awesome. I liked it when I had the ability to. I want to just go back to I want to go back home to New York and just spend a season where there's nice fertile soil and I can just grow a nice big garden for that season. That'd be fun. I'm good at growing things when it's not impossible. Like I was growing a bunch of. I had 80 plants when I was in San Diego. All right, so I got this thing. So it's birthday water slide 7 years ago. My daughter. All right, my daughter. Check it out. This is what we used to do this is what we still do. We go all out. We call it Farapalooza because it's like you think your kid has a birthday party. That's just one day. We have Farapalooza. It's a month-long event. All right.
See, Daddy?
Hi, baby.
Two. Look. Ready?
2 years old. Happy birthday, Farah. We still haven't done cake yet. Woohoo! That might be tomorrow. Yeah, it can work. It definitely works.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. I want to do that. Oh, man. Did you get that video?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Where's my cursor?
All right.
I couldn't find my cursor.
So you got to sit on it.
All right, so there you go. That was 7. And there's Elijah. We got Elijah. I'll do Elijah too. Let's see. Ah, fuck you. All right, hold on. Do I already have it? I don't already have it up here. Here's Elijah. He came down after.
All right. Here it goes.
He's 19 now. You're too thin. He's trying to get oh, way enough.
Go for it. You got this. That's way better. Right? That was awesome. Hi, Dad. That's the way to go. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. I'm glad you guys worked all the bugs out before I do it. Oh, look at the dinosaurs. All right. So there's that. My voice sounded like shit back then. That was too fast. All right. So there's those. I already showed you this. Oh, and by the way, yeah, so my daughter's birthday is coming up on July 2nd. Birthday girl is B-Day Girl 10% off at SemperFryLLC.com. All right. If you want to support this show, you can always get yourself something in return. Listening to sweet, the deer. Yeah, the deer is cool. Listening loud and clear. Good night, everyone. Thanks for this awesome show. Hello, Patricia. Good night, Patricia. I don't know who. I don't think I've ever seen you before, but hello, and I'll see you again some other time. Hey, the Goyim. No, 1488. What's up? How's it going? All right. Now we're gonna get back into some stuff here, but like I said, I gotta go check on my daughter. If she's here, I want to say Allah, not Allah. It sounded more like I said Allah. The fuck's wrong with me? What do I got? What's this? Oh, Inoxius is another one of those things. People always talk about Palantir, but nobody ever talks about this asset intelligence platform. So there it is. Axonius. I'm sorry. Axonius. Axonius is an Israeli-American cybersecurity company. It maintains... This shouldn't be a thing. This shouldn't be a thing. America... That which controls America created this. Paved the way. Helped fund the murders and also took part in them for this to even be a thing. And it's such an abomination to be even called that, knowing what those people are. But again, I'm not a religious person because the Israelites were kill crazy fucking murderers themselves. So it's not like, oh, the Israelites were such wonderful people. No, they're pieces of shit, just like any other person who has zero tolerance for other people's beliefs, who they just stumble across. Because why the hell would they? It's not the God, it's their God, right? No, how would they know what your God is and what if you're the one who dreamed him up in your fucking head? Because obviously, it all depends on what's inside of you, what you would conceive of God. And if you don't actually have a connection with something like a benevolent creator, your perception of what God is a warrior, a murderer. You know, it's a reflection of you, but you give yourself the excuse that it's your God who wants these things, so you can go carry out all kinds of atrocities in its name, because that's what God wants. You're the chosen ones, and that's fucking disgusting. I don't care what anybody, like Israelites, Jews, Judeas, Judas, whatever, they're all fucked up. And the Christians were going around, because they were Jews too, they were Jews mixed in there, cryptos, going around, or they were influencing the kingdoms that did this. They went around and they destroyed all pagan things, destroyed documentation, destroyed histories. Why was that a threat to them? Because their God didn't want history to be around. They didn't want... What does that mean? What does that mean? They didn't want the knowledge of other people to have... Like, why didn't God fix that in the first place by letting everybody know what's up? Oh, finally, these guys guessed correctly. Ding, 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 kill everybody else. And then destroy their histories. That's not a God. That's a maniac. That's a psychopath. That's a demon. That's a demon that doesn't want you to know the truth about the history of man. That could have helped you. It maintains dual headquarters in New York City and a significant research and development R&D center in Tel Aviv. The company was founded by 3 alumni of Israel's elite unit 8200 military intelligence unit. Jesus Christ. You know, Kash Patel's girl. If you'd like to learn more about the company, tell me. No, fuck you. Fuck you. Excuse my language. How Israel Intel linked Anaxius penetrated 70 U.S. Oh. They like to penetrate. Why is this not opening? How Israeli linked Anaxius, Axonius, I always say it wrong. Axonius penetrated 70 U.S. federal agencies. Oh yeah, it looks like they're up to... they're not up to no good at all. The technology firm with longstanding links to Israeli intelligence, maybe this is what the Pentagon was talking about, has quietly assumed a central role in safeguarding the digital systems. So here's the fucked up part, right? Oh, these guys say they're Jews, but they work with the CIA, and they're technically an American company, but really it's like, it's a CIA operation that they call Palantir. How's that better than the people that are Israeli to have a company that is in Tel Aviv and here? Like, how do it's wait, hold on, I got it. Just give me a second. I just thought about it. I just passed it, I guess.
No different. Only different in your mind.
There you go. No different. Only different in your mind. Axonius, founded by former officers of Israel's 8200, offers software designed to give organizations visibility and control over all. You give them access to you, and then they give you something. No, they're taking things under the auspices of some other thing. And then these are the blackmail specialists of the world. These are the fuck you over for trusting them people of the world. This is what they do. Am I going to be flagged for being on the site? It's got the squigglies all over it. In practice, this means the platform collects and analyzes data tied to millions of federal employees. The company was set up by 3 Israelis. Yeah, well, it's. I guess it's fine that a foreign, because it's not really foreign. It's just the 51st state of America. But we're not supposed to believe it like that. We're not supposed to think about it like that, because that would be all. People would get a little upset about that. That an American state went around murdering people and it founded itself in a place that never belonged, and just killed children for the last 2 years straight. Yeah, people would be upset by that. Oh, so that was literally like an American op, just with a different name because it's somewhere else. It's a satellite state from America, as is like Hawaii. Yeah, something like that. Except the tribe is over there in full force. The company was set up by 3 Israelis, Dean Sisman, because he's a cis. That's too hilarious. He's a cis. This should be like Simpman. Ofri, Shur, and Avidor Bartov. That sounds like a Russian Jew, doesn't it? Who served together in Unit 8200 in the early 2010s. Well, Sisman's LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn's also one of those places that fuck your data. It's also Jewish, by the way. Just so you know, don't get on there. While Sisman's LinkedIn profile offers only vague references to work with far-reaching implications, their time overlaps with key years of Israeli aggression. Sisman left the Israeli forces in 2014, right when they started fucking with Putin, right? With Ukraine. To launch a cyber hacking venture. Cyber hacking. Awesome. Yeah, nothing about anything that they do is ever like straightforward or on the up and up. It's always about destruction and dismantling, or infecting. Like they have access to your data, and then they infect your company. Now you can't leave. Now you can't fire us because we're so integrated into your system that we will end up destroying all of your records, all of your data, if you try to remove us, because that's what our software is meant to do. It's supposed to latch on like a tick or a parasite and not let go until it kills the host. Or you could keep feeding it. Yeah. It's good job security that way. Shur and Bartov remained in uniform until 2017, a period that included Israel's 2014 aggression in Gaza. Right, they do that very often. Like there was a continuous one for about 80 years. Shur and rapid formation and strategic early funding. Shur and Bartov left military service in 2017 and swiftly reunited with Sisman. Almost immediately, the trio secured $4 million in seed funding from Yoav Liedersdorf, an Israeli-American investor, fellow Unit 8200 veteran, and managing partner of U.S.-Israeli venture capital firm YL Ventures. Additional financing arrived from Israeli firm Vertex Ventures, whose leadership is similarly rooted in Israeli military intelligence partner Tammy Bronner served 4 years in the IOF's intelligence wing. That's the Israeli Orifice Force. Axonius then attracted hundreds of millions in further investment from U.S. venture capital funds with strong connections to Israel's security apparatus, as per the investigative website. Excel Partners, which has backed more than 30 Israeli tech firms, was among the earliest. Bessemer Venture Partners, whose Tel Aviv office is staffed by former Israeli intelligence personnel, also joined. One partner, Amit Karp. Oh, that's an interesting name. I just gotta ask. They're not related. They say despite sharing the same name, they operate in completely different branches of the technology sector and have different family backgrounds. That's a weird way of saying that. Just they're not related would be the way to say that. Not that they work in different areas. So how could they be related? Like, that's a really weird way of phrasing that, AI. Do you not know what relationships are? Like, it's like when you're in the same family. I know you don't have a body or existence, but you should at least understand those concepts. Bessemer Venture Cap Partners focusing on investments in cybersecurity and cloud software. Cybersecurity means cyber insecurity for everyone else that isn't them. That's like, oh, we're antivirus. Well, how do you stay relevant? You have to create viruses that you can defeat. That's exactly the model. We created the problem so that you would have to purchase our software to fix it. But what do you think isn't cybersecurity in that same vein? Only Jews would think of this shit. I swear to God. Where are we? Gosh, dang it. No. What was I? There it is. Deep penetration, after talking about the Orifice Force. Deep penetration into U.S. federal... Oh, do I really have to read the rest of that? Lightspeed Ventures Partners, another major backer contributing roughly $200 million across several rounds, employs multiple former members of Israeli military and special forces units. Yeah, this is all very bad for us. These are military operations, quote-unquote retirees, just reassignments under corporate entity shields or masks, conducting espionage and cyber hacking and cybersecurity for those who will pay for it, and the others will be destroyed by it. And they're all integrated and they're entangled into our government, which isn't our government, but this is the reason why it's all interlaced like this is because the very entity that creates all this is the same. I would bet you that Great Britain or City of London shit, anything that's controlling whatever the fuck their military is probably integrated with all this crap too. Because that would be the other wing of this would be the original one, which is the Bank of England. Those Jews. Given these backgrounds, the reach of an Axonius inside the U.S. federal infrastructure is striking. The company says its platform is now running across more than 70 federal organizations. Department of Motor Vehicles. They got to know everything about you, brah. Between that and Palantir, I guarantee you. Including 4 of the 5 core Department of Defense Service branches. Award records show contracts with the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. What about the Coast Guard? Good, we're clear. In November 2024, the Department of Homeland Security selected Axonius to centralize cyber data for dozens of federal agencies. A month later, the Pentagon tapped the company to update its system for 24/7 monitoring of all Department of Defense networks, a key piece of federal cyber defense. What did the DoD do recently? In case you don't remember, in case it's better for me to state it. Come on. And this is shifts inward focused to inward focused. Okay. This is LinkedIn. Vladimir Norov. I don't want to look at the LinkedIn. Just anywhere near LinkedIn is a Jewish abyss that sucks you into it. Okay, don't do it. DoD shifting Homeland Defense Mission Cloud. That's something else. Pentagon shifts defense strategy to focus on Homeland. Here we go. Pentagon shifts defense. That's Pentagon. Defense strategy focus on Homeland. Offer more limited support to allies. Department of War plaque hangs at the main entrance of the Pentagon of Washington, D.C. after installation. Remember how they were taking down the other ones? Anyway, the new National Defense Strategy released Friday puts protection of the homeland. No, they're not protecting the homeland. They're targeting the civilians. I didn't say citizens. The civilians. That's still an okay word from what I know. Citizens has a whole different meaning. But the civilians they're targeting here, us. And they have all these different Israeli things stacked upon each other. If we're not willing to go and die in a fucking war, which is imminent, like you will be killed because they don't have any. That's what the outcome that they desire. Stars and stripes. That's the outcome that they desire. So that's gonna be what happens. They're gonna send you into places that are you're not gonna come back from. So you can choose that route, or you can choose some other very painful, horrible death here, or you can wait it out and starve to death, or, maybe you won't, maybe you will be selected for the smart city hellscape, or whatever. Special operations focused inward. Special operations forces are attracting attention for the wrong reasons after a spate of incidents overseas that involved murder of Americans allegedly carried out by the SOF forces. Oh, I gotta log in. You bitches. Well, anyway. So that was that. Okay. They're focusing inward. And what was the other thing I was thinking? Yeah, obviously you know about the Department of War thing, right? So they call themselves the Department of War. And then they say they're going to focus inward. And then they're gonna, but where's all their surveillance? Their surveillance should still be exterior if they're just trying to defend us. Doesn't that make sense? That they would have their feelers out in the world to, sense something long before it became a threat here. If that was really what they were doing, that's how they would do it. But they're not. They're doing it against us, and then they're going to be like, oh, the enemy's within. And then they're going to play that, they're going to invert or work that idea of all enemies, foreign and domestic, against the people when it's them who are the true domestic terrorists. But this concept that we have of all enemies, foreign and domestic, defend from, that's what their military is going to be doing while they're killing civilians. Getting the drop on them with all their technology, their thought crime, their pre-crime. Do you see what I'm talking about here? Like you get how dangerous this is getting. This demonic parasite is so wrapped up into the system of that they've created basically with this corporatocracy. But in our perception, like even if you extracted it right now, it would kill the host, because they couldn't grasp the gravity of how just completely immersed what they consider our country or our government is in the very enemy that's about to kill us. And they're going to have full cooperation from all armed forces here. They've been drilled, they've been selected, they've been weeded out, they've been conditioned, and they've been trained by this entity that when the time comes, Operation Cable Slicer was in the 80s. They were already preparing to go to war with the civilian population. And this was foreign instructed back then too. LA was working with all kinds of fucked up people in the local and the Los Angeles law enforcement, the feds, the CIA, but who is that representative of? ADL, Mossad, the very entity that actually. But even if not that, if you can't bring yourself to say that, well, when you understand the corporatocracy here has been run by the Jewish banking cult, then to say the feds, which actually protects the Federal Reserve's interests, or if you say the CIA, well, that was also created by the same demonic pieces of shit. And that's who's training and informing your local law enforcement into thinking that they're doing the right thing because they don't. Have you seen them treat the public well in the past? Isn't their whole job to extort money from you and with hidden taxes for breaking policies, which is a color of law, has nothing to do with true natural law at all. So they abuse you and they ignore your constitutional rights. And if you mention those things, if you mention the Bill of Rights, which by the way, you don't need a piece of paper to tell you that you have these rights. You write them down so that fucking idiots understand that there's a contract there too. But with or without the paper, you have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to life. You have a right to own things that you've earned. All those things that they're taking away. You have a right to privacy. You have a right to your Fourth Amendment, whether it's written down there or not. You should be able to choose what level of exposure you have to other people's meddling hands. And if you don't trust them, and you shouldn't, then they should have less information about you. Every freaking maniacal Jew is going to know way too much about you. We know that they're child killers. We know that they're child rapists. We know that they mutilate and eat them and drink the blood and do all kinds of blood rituals with them. We know that. We know all the atrocities that they've conducted right here. We know that they kill presidents. We know that they bring down buildings. We know that they did that even for the 90 people that were in the building in Miami when it went on its footprint. When McAfee was found dead. The IDF showed up to that. Why would the IDF show up to that? Why was the IDF in our country? What was their interest in sifting through the rubble to find? Why did our country let that happen? Why was that not considered an invasion or a breach of jurisdictions? Why'd they do it out in the open, right on the street there? We're fucked, guys. I'm just saying. It's all or nothing, do or die. And if you don't believe that, come talk to me again in a year and tell me how everything's going. No, wait, you won't be able to. Neither will I. It says, in November 2024, the Department of Homeland Security selected Axonius to centralize cyber data for dozens of federal agencies. A month later, the Pentagon tapped the company to update its system to 24/7 monitoring of all DoD networks, a key piece of federal cyberspace. By April, Axonius had secured blanket authorization for its cloud-based tools to be used by any U.S. federal agency, including local law enforcement, I would guess. Federal agency, I'm sorry. Like they wouldn't be sharing the information or anything. Now, excuse me, cyber unicorn Axonius surpasses $200 million. Arr, doubles the revenue in 2 years. I wonder why that is. Because they print it? Because they are the same entity? They act like, see, like, oh my God, this is what an accomplishment, the Goy think. What an accomplishment. These guys are such really good business people that they get all these money and all these investors. It's like, it's the same fucking entity.
No, no different. Only different in your mind.
Thank you. All right. So while I am up and away for a second to see my daughter, I'm going to start this here. We probably want to listen to the whole thing. I'm going to start it here. He does repeat himself a lot. Just try to roll with it for a minute.
By the way, Defense Secretary John Healey of the UK has resigned because he said the government isn't protecting its own citizens in the UK anymore. There's another person that resigned immediately after him. I'm sorry, I don't have his name. And by the way, the minister, Prime Minister of UK, old Starmer there, within days from now, is going to impose internet restrictions. They're actually really, really upset that people are trading information freely online. They don't like that. Interestingly enough, and it's not interesting to anybody with more than 5 brain cells, people that are into tyranny don't like it when people start talking about what's happening and what's going on. I don't know if you know what's happened in Belfast recently. You can bring it up on Insta or X. I don't actually have a Twitter account. I never did, but it's all over the place. I've seen the video. The video is interesting. By interesting, it just, you know, it's that kind of interesting. Nothing actually shocks me. The asylum seeker there was given a free apartment. Irish TV, which I had been watching, is not upset at what happened in Belfast. No. They're actually upset that social media put the video out there. This is the reason why Starmer and the tyrannical regime of the UK, which is against the people 100%, is going to, within a few days from now, if not less, impose all sorts of internet restrictions. After the Belfast occurrence, is what I'm going to call it, to be very gentle. I read down the laundry list of UK officials, and they think the problem is Twitter. No, not that it occurred or that their WEF and agenda caused all this to happen. And I could see this coming for years and years and years off. So did anybody with a half a brain. They're actually upset that the information and the video spread via Twitter. This is a quote from one of them. So the government must take action against tech billionaires like Elon Musk, who controls the divisive social media algorithms that are in sight. No, the occurrence. So they're telling you, I don't know what the British people think about this, but they're telling you that the incident wasn't incitement. No, it's that the video, a bunch of people recorded it when it was happening, and people spread the information. Oh, no, that's the problem. This is one of the earmarks of tyranny. The UK is a tyrannical dictatorship. They are, that's not my opinion, they are. They don't care about what happened. They care about the fact that it's being reported on. That's what they care about. They don't care that it happened. They care that you talk about it. You know, you people, the peasants, of course, and in their eyes, you all are just a bunch of peasants. The only reason you're actually hearing about what happened in Belfast is because it was flooded all over Twitter and had X, which is what Twitter's called now, of course, not existed, much to the Labour Party's desire. The story wouldn't have reached MSM. So sorry. Shouldn't have had some vitamin C before making this video. I'll edit that out. Said, they're saying, they're actually screaming at Musk now, since he owns the X platform. They don't want him to, quote, control the narrative. Elon Musk was giving a speech to, I really don't care about Elon Musk one way or another. I'm defending him. But if he says something accurate, or anybody does, I certainly defend them for saying something logical and accurate. Elon Musk said to a crowd of people, and I think it was Belfast or somewhere in the UK, he said that you either defend yourself or you suffer the consequences. He used slightly different words, so I'm going to be sensitive. But he said, you just, and I was saying this last night in live stream, the most fundamental thing granted to any living, breathing creature, whether it be venom or fangs or claws, is its inalienable, natural right to self-defense. And a lot of Europe and Australia and Ireland and Germany and France and on, they don't have any right to defense. I mean, there are some exceptions, but essentially they don't. The other guy, I'm going to say, who got 14 ventilation holes. Yeah, the guy that got 14 ventilation holes. I saw the video many, many times where they were cuffing him on the street. He was face down on the street. They were cuffing him. And the guy was saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And he said that, he got some ventilation holes. Yeah, I'm using very parsed language. You know exactly what I'm referring to. The cop that was cuffing him, he already had one bracelet on. He was trying to put the other one. Here's what the cop said. He said, I don't think you have been. I think he was forced to resign. I doubt he resigned of his own free will. It is an undeniable fact that I've been saying this for years, and UK isn't the only one. Canada, this is true. The guy that actually bought my 75-acre farm, he told me just today how much like a pack of steaks costs up in Canada, which to me is astronomical. It's something like $230 Canadian for a package of steaks, and all the horrible things that are happening in Australia and Canada, the Netherlands and Germany, okay? That the UK government is literally the enemy of its own people. It's taking orders from the UN/WEF and actually cabal entities. I mean, this isn't an opinion or a theory or a feeling that I have. I mean, it's a fact. I'm part Irish myself. I've always wanted to see Ireland. I'll never see it. It's too expensive. I work 7 days a week. This all harkens back to getting a $100 gift certificate to a really expensive place that I would never eat somewhere. I do emphasize the word deserving, not people that, have issues. They're there by means of their own hand. I'm talking about people that fell on hard times or luck. I know some go there all the time, and I love to help them out, but instructor and an expert on certain tools. Pew, Europeans and especially the British people. I grew up hearing, as a former concealed carry instructor, and an expert on certain tools. Pew, pew, pew. Expert. That's why I can't make videos about it on the tube, because they don't like that. About how Europeans are always wagging their finger at Americans and our second, got the First Amendment, and then, of course, we have the Second. What are the, given the tyranny that's going on in the UK, Ireland, Germany, and France, and how you fundamentally are not only under tyrannical control, but you have no fundamental right of defense even in your own home. I mean, everybody has a right, even a lowly cockroach or, whatever insect or living creature on Earth has a right to defense. What do the Brits and the Deutschlanders and the French and the Canadians think about I've been rolling my eyes for decades at Europeans and Canadians and Aussies who gave up these rights, the feeble ones that they've had for all these many countless years. What do you think about it now that you're under the tyrannical thumb of a undeniable tyranny of oppression? What do you think about the second now? You still, I don't, of all these 53 years I've been alive, all of a sudden the past few years, it's been crickets from Europeans and Brits. They don't really seem to be wagging their finger anymore at Americans in our second. I did not know this. I found out from a buddy that 75% of Brussels Belgians in Belgium, in Brussels, are not actually Belgians. They're, one guy was asking a family in the street, they're pushing a baby stroller, and this giant rock who got chugged and just barely missed the stroller, you know, with the little one in the stroller. 75%. There's a lot to be said. I mean, my question is, how ignorant do you think somebody has to be, or is it done on purpose, which it is being done, to let in such a significant number of people who are never going to assimilate, they're never going to integrate into society, never going to happen. These Europeans, you know, the Brits and the Irish, I mean, the Irish have, by the way, said that they're going to shut the country down. They said if it takes a month, you know, and we nearly starve financially, you know, it's worth it. This is one of those moments in Ireland, and of course the Irish have always, you know, they love to partake of the brew, and they love to do this number. And I can say that since I'm part Irish. They're just not going to take it anymore, you know? When you give lots of free stuff to people that, you know, only, you know, landed there a few days ago, and then you blame the local citizens for complaining about their streets not being safe anymore. You know, this isn't being handed down by a bunch of unintelligent overlords. They know what they're doing. They complain at the people who are under oppression that are complaining, and they are rightly so complaining. The Irish, the British, they are rightly. But you got all these leaders say, oh, these people have no right to protest, to complain. Right? Like, are you kidding me? Of course, they have every right. I can't think of how many people in Ireland or the Belgium, I was just asking the guy there. He's just a guy and his wife pushing the baby stroller, and, you know, about 20 feet behind him, a non-Belgian takes this big old rock and baby nearly misses the little kid. It's all caught on video. Replacement theory is not a theory. All these things, like starting in 2019, that people said were happening, people are like, no, that's not happening. And it turns out it is happening. Replacement theory is not a theory. By the way, we've found out, and I've said this since day one. I said, number one, that Iran is a paper tiger. I had all sorts of people go after me over that, and they are a paper tiger. They say, well, the Strait of Hormuz is closed. It's not been closed. No country on earth has ever closed it. It can't be closed. It's super gigantic. No country could ever close it even if they wanted to. It's about the insurance companies and those mega $1 million, billion in some cases, tankers, and their mega $1 million payload of oil. The U.S. has escorted over 22 tankers through the Strait over the past few weeks. That information was leaked out yesterday. It wasn't leaked out. It was actually given by old Cheeto Jesus there. A lot of people, by the way, there has been 38 times that old Cheeto Jesus has said, we have a deal with Iran. 38 times over the past few weeks. Couple months, actually, technically. 38. Each time has proven not to be true. Even Iran today said, he called off strikes today. Cheeto Jesus did. So we got a deal. That's why I called it off. And the leaders of Persia said, we don't know anything about a deal. There are a lot of people with insider information that are getting very, very major rich off of this. Military-industrial complex is getting major, major rich. Yeah, Iran publicly, vehemently denies that there is any agreement at all, contrary to what old Cheeto Jesus. This is flat-out market manipulation. If in the last few years you want myself and my family and my cohorts to get super, super, super rich, this is exactly what I do. I'd say, you tell everybody, I'm going to announce we got a deal. And then certain stocks are bought or sold. People get filthy rich, and then you say, no, and it fell through. And they do it again and again and again. There's so many people that are getting so wealthy off this. People, to answer the question of why 38 times, literally, Cheeto Jesus says, we have a deal. We have an agreement.
Cheeto Jesus.
Of course they don't. He says these people are using this for market manipulation. If General Patton were still alive and he met old Cheeto Jesus knowing what's happened in I don't know what he would do.
Nice.
There is a slight possibility in addition to this, and he's already said he's going to go after Cuba, that the president of the United States wants Iran to end this conflict, to end ASAP, so he could tackle Cuba. He's already said that he's going to go after Cuba. Just yesterday, before calling it off today, he says, "Bigger, more powerful. We're gonna hit them tonight, and if they don't agree, we're gonna hit them again tomorrow." By the way, there are a lot of photographic sightings of the Northrop Grumman RQ-180. It's an American stealth aerial vehicle. It's a UAV. It's a surveillance stealth craft. It looks exactly like a B-2. It's intended for lingering over contested airspace and watching what people and things are doing, in addition to satellites, of course. So there are a lot of pictures of advanced technology that is being tested in this field, including that unmanned boat which rescued those 2 or 3 Huey helicopter pilots that were floating in the water for several hours. When they were taken down in the middle of the night, their craft lost power. That was tested for the first time in real conditions. So there's all this equipment in the real field that is being tested, cutting-edge technology.
That's what wars are for, to play with their toys at the expense of human lives.
Everything is going exactly according to Plan 2030. It is. Everything. The last link that they need is a bunch of robots. They already have the free energy. They already have the electromotive anti-gravity. And they have the AI. It needs still some more perfecting. And the AI matrix off of these server farms, which they're calling data centers. They're just server farms to host data and AI and firmware updates and operating system control nexuses for these robots. The last link...
And probably manufacturing facilities for said autonomous machines as well. And maybe facilities for torturing us to death. I mean, they have a lot of space in those things.
They need are the robots. The farmers now, and that's what's going to happen next, is that the reason why they're trying to shut out, and this is happening globally, especially in the UK, especially in Europe, they're trying to get rid of all these farmers. They still need farmland. Not as much, since, you know, a lot of the people are going to go away. Is that they already have, and I've seen lots and lots and lots of video footage of this, these robots that cultivate, they plant seeds, they harvest seeds, they're all GPS guided, they are robots.
Taking away the human element, taking away the soul of your food, and they're not going to be, you know, machines aren't concerned with the amount of poisons they're dumping onto your food.
You don't need a human out in the field. People, and I'm all behind the farmers, but they don't need farmers anymore. This is like isn't something off in the far distant future. Even Jeremy Clarkson's farm, who's the British guy that has 1,000 acres somewhere in southern England, he got a couple of these robots, and his little punk farmer, you know, who grew up farming, he's like just amazed, as the English would say, gobsmacked. The robots are precise within a few centimeters, way better than any farmer on any tractor ever. Super, super precise. It does cultivating, seed planting, weeding. I even saw the robotic weeder. The kid is just staring at the screen. The robot's got a camera on it. He's just the kid, a farmer kid. Been doing it his whole life. He's not very intelligent. He's very, very unintelligent. He's just looking at this robotic de-weeder where it's weeding out the unwanted material. And they don't need farmers anymore. I see all these bumper stickers and people saying this, and I know why they're saying it, and superficially it's true, but it is not true anymore. They don't need farmers. And then the ignorant people that don't know about this technology, and it's not future technology, the technology is here now. Well, where are you going to get your food from? You need farmers. No, you don't. You don't need the farmers anymore. I also saw robotic milkers. The cows, they get fed, they know to walk into this thing, and then the robot comes out, beep, 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 beep. They already got robotic milkers. The farmer doesn't even need to milk the cows anymore. I know people have to eat, but you don't need farmers anymore. But all these people think you do. It's like, no, you don't. The technology is already here. That's a slice, 1% slice of what they got coming for everybody. China has already got these robotic helpers. I don't know how skilled they are, but like cleaning and cooking and, laundry and stuff like that for the house. That's going to be ubiquitous. What do you think these data centers are for? They don't need hardly anybody anymore. Robotic surgery is already...
And corporations run on efficiency and profit. And they're all corporations, so what are we for then? Right. Time to liquidate.
Here. It's been here now for years. It's become way more reliable than the most skilled surgeon. Diagnostically, they're way better and more accurate.
Yeah, but they're still wrong because they're following allopathy, which, again, unless you're talking about surgery when it's necessary, everything else is horrific and detrimental to your health.
The interlocking puzzle pieces, the data centers and the robots, you eliminate doctors, you eliminate out manual labor. You don't need the farmers anymore, period. You don't need them. It's not my feeling or opinion.
There's no loyalty to the cult of society and the cult of medicine for their obedience and belief in their system. This is how the diabolical or demonic or evil... You've probably watched movies where this has happened before. When something is useful and it's in good standing with whatever the evil is, or whatever the evil, character is, right up until they no longer serve a purpose. And at that point, they're ruthlessly murdered, just like they did in the Soviet Union under the Bolsheviks. Your services are no longer required. I think that's from New Jack City, right? And he shoots that girl shoots that dude in like point blank. He goes up to the window. He goes, "Your services are no longer required," and the girl shoots him in the head.
And it's a fact. They look like little mini tanks. They're on treads. They're just these robotic farmers. They do absolutely everything.
I had an employer. It wasn't really an employer because if you don't get paid a salary or an hourly, is that really an employer? I worked at a tavern. It was a beer and wine bar because the guy didn't have a liquor license when I was in Florida, and he didn't pay us, and he would go around like Fridays and Saturdays. Sometimes Sundays, but Fridays and Saturdays obviously were the most busy. And he would do one or two things the whole entire night while we shelled out all the beer and all the, there was mixed drinks with like fake wine-based liquors and stuff like that we also were able to serve. And at the end of the night, he would take 50% of the tips. We were only paid in tips. So this fucking guy who was making money off all the sales, it was his store. He didn't pay us anything. And he would also take half of what we earned for the night. Piece of shit.
That you're going to have to learn in the next few years, and you don't wait till the last minute, you're going to have to become sovereign. You're going to need to learn how to make things and repair things like I was doing right before this video. I myself am considering alternative forms of transportation. Not an ATV, but like a...
I'm sorry. So at one point the guy said, "Your services are no longer required." I go, "Yeah, you're an idiot," because I know where that came from.
I grew up on motorcycles, by the way, like a mini motorcycle. They have these very, very simple ones that like a blind person can fix. They're basically like a prepper created motorcycle. Super, super simple. You know, it's just like a motorcycle from the 1950s. You know, there's no electronics on it or anything. Super simple. Several months of food. Everybody should have a go bag. I got the best go bag imaginable. Go bags are for people that don't have farms. But having the farm isn't the only thing. You actually have to be able to, what my buddy called, repel borders. You know, defend what is yours. Make yourself ready, water storage containers. I just picked up 3 more 5-gallon water storage containers.
I've got 110
Water
gallons
filtration,
behind
first
me.
aid, antibiotics. The 2 most useful things on Earth are rope and wire. People never think of that. Rope and wire. Land. You could talk about property taxes all day long. Blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. I don't care what you think. I know the facts.
Yeah, except for the simple fact that, speaking of facts, they can just acquire whatever it is that they want and say that they need it for some other use, or they'll point at something on your property and say that's endangered or this, that, the other thing, and lie about it and rewild your land and kick you off of it. Don't think that won't start happening. Anybody who is independent from them and able to repel borders for a little while is going to be targeted. And if they're still playing the diplomatic route, then they'll do it with a bunch of technicalities and BS. Otherwise, they'll just take you out like the Bolsheviks took out farmers or people with land, gardeners.
No, I've never been wrong about land. Never. Most important thing to have is land. And your health, obviously.
I can hook you up with that.
Tools for defending thyself and thy family. Paramount importance, right next to land. As I say, lead, land, and learning, meaning skills in reference to learning. Lead, the 3 L's, lead, land, and learning. I'll let you figure out what the lead stands for.
Duh. Come on, bro.
Pretty sure you can figure it out. So this is what's going on. Everything is going according to plan. The last step that they need, I will reiterate once again, are the robots, and they're nearly there. They've got robotic milkers, robotic harvesters, robotic cultivators. Nobody has to go in the field anymore. People, you need farmers. Without farmers, you got no food. It's like, no, they figured that out. You think they haven't figured that out?
He's such a dork sometimes.
The UK passed that thing, like if you have over $1 million in assets, they're going to tax the ever-loving bejesus out of you. Yeah.
That's Jewish, right? Unless you're one of them, you're not allowed to acquire wealth or hand it down. State tax, death tax, inheritance tax, every other fucking loophole tax.
Because they want you to give up the farm. They want you to forfeit it to the government. You can't be a farmer anymore. We'll take care of that. We'll just send out like 10 robots. They'll cultivate it and they'll grow the food for the elitists after you're all gone. Because you all are the useless eaters. We're the useful eaters and you're the useless eaters.
What makes them useful if they can't do anything except for acquire fake assets, fraudulent wealth? That it's only a spell that tricks us into thinking that they somehow have leverage over us. That's the spell of money, their money anyway. We got to break through that. We got to get away from that. It's always going to be a rigged game because it's their game, and obviously they don't play fair or straight. And they shouldn't be allowed to be in control of something like that. And that's how they've conquered the whole freaking world so far. Not to mention the enforcement of said.
I wish this weren't so. I really do. I really wished it wasn't so, but it is so. I'm not interested in being sensationalist at all. I don't care about sensationalism. I care about facts, logic.
Okay. We get you. Blah, blah, blah. He likes to sniff his own farts a lot. Okay. Where are we at? Oh, wow. Well, let's see. Edward Snowden said, our federal government orchestrated the opening and rushing of our southern border. They are mulch-worthy people. Now they want to occupy the border with a bunch of goddamn people in an insanely extroverted, intimate, expensive substitute for walls. None of these antics are going to interfere with the mulch-worthiness of their people. Mulch-worthy indeed, said Harry Balls. Tiki Launch says, what are your thoughts on California governor situation, Dan? There is the Riverside sheriff named Chad Bianco, who I heard is pro-Second Amendment and was giving out tens of thousands of concealed carry permits through his department, but he is not going to win. There wasn't much coverage on him lately. I don't think that's... in the grand scheme of things, I don't think any of this really makes any difference, because if we're not considering the system itself as the problem, because we're still in a corporatocracy, and this is going to be the ultimate end of it regardless, unless we change the status and terms of what we are living under, there's going to be no positive outcome for mankind. So the little battles, I don't think, are anything but a distraction at this point. We might have been able to discuss things like that and have some relevance 50 years ago, but I don't think that's the same case now when they're breathing down our necks with their drooling fangs. Edward Snowden says the UK, I like how you said that. The UK overlords are, sorry, I gotta learn how to read. Excuse me. The UK overlords and overladies need to do one extra task after imposing internet restrictions. That one last task is to get mulched. You should probably start getting signatures for an initiative to add to the mulching. To add the mulching. Yeah. You know what else? You're probably right, because that would be a lot quicker than building a bunch of pillories. Although the public shaming part has to be part of it so that people see this and understand that there's a consequence for being evil, that there's accountability, especially when they have given the parasitic mind to so many of their minions and what they would call the minority classes, that they need to see that the thing that gives them their entitlement in the first place has a checks and balance system imposed upon it, and that they might not be in power anymore, so that maybe they should back the fuck off and learn to either be civil or be scarce, as in get the fuck away. The wilderness logging Kaikoons, I like that, also need to add one more task to their logging. They need to get mulched and tilled into the soil they abuse, and they can atone for their ecological sins by enriching the soil. Now, this is only my personal recommendation. I'm not a medical professional. You're on fire tonight, man. That's great. Edward Snowden says, for the people who have always gotten by just by surrendering, I don't know if there's any reason for them to bother repelling invaders, even from a farm they own. Yeah, just by surrendering or hiding or saying nothing and letting other people get abused. Yeah, 'tis a shame. What else we got going on here? Who else is? Oh, I gotta finish that thing too. Let's do that. All right, so this is where we were at
with these little cheap remote control drones.
So when the camera stops, that means boom, and they're dead. So this is what we're up against, guys.
Could you imagine?
These are soldiers. These are trained soldiers. You barely hear them till they're up on you, and then it's all over. They're suicide drones. They have a payload, they explode, and then that's it. That's why they say it only costs them X amount of dollars, because there's 800 or something they were saying, because it's not able to be used more than once, because that's all it does. But it takes somebody out, or it takes out a freaking truck, or a, you know, what do you call it, a Humvee full of people.
Seeing one of those things coming at you, dude.
That's what you see just before you die.
He's dead. Dead.
You know the Jews fucking love watching this, like, cartoons.
Bro.
They probably train their children to watch this.
Dude. He's dead. There's like no defense against it. Once it's got you, dude. You got night vision on these things. He's trying to hide behind a stick.
They gotta start learning how to train against this stuff. This is the problem, is that when we wait, then we're not even addressing living beings that, or whatever they are. Obviously, I'm not going to call them human. We're not addressing those things. We're not punishing or reprimanding or getting, you know, a notch on our side of the game board. We're playing with their toys that they can just constantly send out thousands and thousands more at us, because they're going to be manufactured them faster than we can break them. And obviously, trained soldiers are having an issue. Maybe Biden was right about the shotgun thing, right? Because the birdshot spreads a little bit more. But if it has an explosive on it, how close can it get to you before that's going to just kill you anyway?
Crazy, man. War will never be the same. What do you guys think about this? You want to be on the front lines? Warfare will never, ever be the same, dude. This is some scary stuff. This is real footage from...
Yeah. Oh, this is good.
Listen what Snoop Dogg here had to say about Carmelo Anthony.
So Carmelo just got found guilty.
Snoop
and,
Dogg.
you know, I'm not surprised at all. I was already, like, preparing myself for the worst for this young brother. This is my
For this
thing,
young
though.
brother who murdered a fucking kid, stabbed him in the heart because he wasn't where he was supposed to be, and somebody had said something about it because of his nigger entitlement.
America is so funny because they will understand self-defense in situations like George Zimmerman with Trayvon Martin. Or as we just seen, Rick Chow with Cyrus Belton, even though he chased someone down, shot him in the back. And they went through all the loops in their brains to understand self-defense in that moment. But they can't understand when it was Carmelo. Like, it's just...
You knife somebody who doesn't have a weapon on them, and what? How was he not in the wrong that whole entire way? How is that not an unprovoked assault?
Man, you know?
No, dumb motherfucker. I don't know what the fuck you're trying to say. All I hear is a bunch of goofy ass shit coming out of niggas' mouths. Fuck Carmelo Anthony. And fuck Cyrus Belton's dumbass. Dumbass kid couldn't follow basic directions and problem solve properly. His parents got him killed. Black culture got him killed. Now Carmelo Anthony's in prison because he couldn't control his emotions and de-escalate the situation. Stabbing someone after they push you is not self-defense, niglet. I'm telling you, niggas are the most politically illiterate people in the fucking country. We don't do research. We don't pay attention to fucking shit. This is exactly why we need to start restricting some of you niggas' right to vote. What the fuck are you even talking about? Niggas out here chimping the fuck out, and they don't even know the basic facts of the case. Why don't you niggas pick somebody worth defending for fucking once? Do better, niggas.
There we go. But that's Andrew Williams, USA, in case anybody wants to know. This is wild. This is the real Huckleberry here. He says that it's wild watching them make excuses for their own. I don't understand how they're not embarrassed. Well, has a Jew ever apologized for the behavior of another Jew who does something horrific? Like, if they were actually decent people who want to be seen as decent, don't you think that every once in a while they would be like, yeah, we disowned them and we apologize for their behavior? That's not a reflection on us. Does that ever happen? Or they double down and call you an anti-Semite for even considering that they might be in the wrong? Doesn't that say it all right there? Oh, there was I wanted to see it. There was something that, even though I'm kind of tired of the story now, there was, and I guess I'm not going to see it on here. There was a response from the father of Carmelo. Not Carmelo. Yeah, no, that was it. It wasn't, I'm sorry, no. So I wasn't thinking, I was thinking about the Lego thing. It just got crisscrossed in my brain. The lines got crossed. I'm kind of tired of the Lego thing. But, yeah, when I pulled up YouTube earlier, there was a short video. The father responded saying, "My son's dead, you fucking assholes," or something like that. This is going to be great, but I'm going to put this on the Patreon, and may I just remind you, it's patreon.com, ChristosCast, right? Ching, ching. That just brings me right back to the same fucking place. All right, and for $3 a month, you can support the show. For $5 a month, you can support the show, or for $10 a month, you can totally support the show. And if more peeps do that, that'd be awesome. Yes, that's the only one that actually works. Exactly, Edward. You got to bring the demolition to your local politician. Message to a legislator, leaving nothing but a crater. Yeah, that's how you write your local politician. Exactly. You write them off. Write them off the balance sheet. It's not like anybody with common sense would know, hey, maybe the people don't want you to sell them out and turn them over to the meat grinder of Bolshevism. If you have to tell somebody that, then probably they're not the right person for the position of representative, because they don't know how to represent people that they don't have any clue about their wants and desires, right? It's always funny. Like, you have to be multi-millionaire or be able to acquire multi-millions of dollars in order to be a politician, which already makes you not like everybody else. So how are you a reflection of the people? It's a very select group. In that group of that hierarchy, even if you were a real person and somehow were able to raise that money because the people really believed in you, which happens very rarely, well, those people who donated to you have just purchased your neutralization, because now you're obligated. Now you have promises that you made to them that go against what you would have naturally have done in order to serve said people. So it's always controlled. It's a rigged game. And once again, what did that? Money. Their money. Every single time it goes back to that. I'm not saying I don't play the game. Money's the root of all the evil. Yeah, that's kind of their money is. Yeah. Money itself is kind of an outdated thing, but we'll never know that. It was outdated before it was ever like widely utilized. You know, your combat, basically your usefulness was your wealth. Back when things made more sense, you were a good warrior. You were a good leader. You know, the spoils of a victory or whatever over an opposing foe or somebody who was trying to, you know, attack your civilian population, and you defended it. Like, that was your use, that was your value, and that's why people wanted you to have leadership, a position in leadership, because you were able to be effective, and therefore they were pretty okay with you possessing objects, and you probably got them as gifts, and there was probably also a reward for that. I'm thinking of like the Scythians. Like, they didn't really carry too much around with them. Yes, they had gold. Yes, they made jewelry out of it. Yes, they did things like that. But a lot of stuff they just left behind when they moved on to something else. The adage was they carried basically a sword and a cup to their own, you know, and they always took their family with them. They were one extended family of a tribe. They were nationalistic wherever they went, and this is what was the strength of our people forever. And that unit was their wealth because they were always going to work to help one another out and make all of their lives, you know, positive and thriving. Versus somebody has developed a system where they have all control over what's printed. It has no real value. They enforce its value. And the only reason why it has value is because it's enforced. And if you try to use something else, they'll kill you. And that's a system that they can always be able to outbid and did you see the thing with BlackRock lately? They'll buy like 30, 40 homes in a neighborhood, and then they'll resell two or three to another, you know, division of their umbrella corporation for triple the value. And because those houses sold for that amount, it changes the real estate value of that area, that zone. And now you can't afford a house there. And then what ends up happening is you end up having to rent from them forever. And then they have control of the rent. It's every disgusting system that you could think of. Oh, and meanwhile, see, think about this. If they were worried, if they were like gracious, if they were appreciative of anything ever, they wouldn't be throwing the anti-Semite word around to a country that allegedly liberated them from such a horrible thing in the first place that never happened. But if we're going to play that side of the game, then shouldn't they be appreciative instead of looking for excuses to call us and make us out to be like these Nazis that they've drafted in their head as being a real thing? And also, if we're paying through our taxation $1.5 million just for one home with 10 bedrooms in it in like New Jersey for their little smelly fucking pieces of shit, their little peyote wearing, do nothing, Torah studying, unemployed Jew. If we're paying for them and their multitude of children, why do they still need to fucking steal from us? Why do they still need to impoverish us? We're already giving them every freaking thing. And not that I am okay with either part of that, but it's like it's just never enough. You can't satiate the demon. It wants your annihilation, and it wants to be able to devour you. It wants to suck you dry, and not in a good way. And it wants, well, maybe some of those weirdos do, but and they want to devour you. They want nothing left of your presence. That's why I'm telling you, Christianity in its time was another tool for them to destroy history. That's why I'm very suspicious of the church and all that stuff, obviously. But also, what do people actually conceptualize their religion as being? Because once you put it into a religious format, it ceases to be Christianity from Christ, and it's more of an institution of control. And I guarantee you, if they're already changing Bible verses in Canada or calling them anti-Semitic and racist, then if this is happening in 2026, how many other times in history do you think they've changed the verbiage? Especially when they said that Jesus claimed he was from the house of David. So therefore, I heard somebody use that as a response as to why he was definitely a Jew. And this person is usually smart. He's the one that's we was kings and shit when he's making fun of people. He said that. I'm like, oh my God, how do you not see a lie when you look at it, you know? First of all, we're arguing about unicorns right now because we don't know that he was even a thing. Why did nobody write about him for 100 years? If it was such a pivotal event in history, you would think somebody would have written that down before 100 years passed. Just saying. Let's go back to this for a little bit. We got a little bit of time. I want to see my daughter to sleep. She just got home. It was funny because they weren't even here yet. And as soon as I walked outside to see if the van was here, they pulled up. I was like, wow, that's some spidey sense there. That's good stuff. So here's a really cool photo, and it goes back to what I was saying about old cars before. They were tanks. They were big. If you got into an accident, it happened so far away from you that you were okay, because the cars were so big that even if you did get in an accident, it happened so far away from you. It's like you weren't even in the accident. They were not made out of the cheapest pieces of shit, breakaway, destructive, everything gets totaled no matter what happens type of material. And they had class. They were built to last. They were built out of real material. And although this one's kind of a more plain one, like I have more respect for them now because of living through all this other bullshit that I've seen on the car lots. For actually, $61,000 for an SUV is actually cheap now, which is sad. And I wouldn't ever buy anything that has all those sensors in it. Like honestly, it's only going to be so long. Well, we're not going to have to worry about this because we're all going to be dead soon. But if I was to purchase another vehicle, I would still never buy anything past 2004. Like 2005 was that year where things started getting stupid. They got really stupid post 2015, and in the past 2 years, and actually during COVID, they started putting the kill switches in it. Again, another issue that we have to face if we don't do something soon. If we don't rise up and stand up together and show solidarity, a community response to what's happening, then, because it's one thing if a small group does something over here or over there, then they could be called the domestic terrorist cell. A town has said no to something. Well, that's because they were influenced by China, or they'll say something retarded. But if like in Albania, if all people say fuck this, they didn't have weapons, and they're not saying fight, but show that you're not going to put up with it anymore. You got to pull yourself out of the system, because they'll say, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Because what are you going to do? Boycott gas? You still have to go to work. So don't ever do anything dumb like that. But there's got to be something that will motivate people to collectively, all together. Doesn't matter if we don't get along. Doesn't matter if we have our own prejudices. When it comes to an existential threat that's being across the board laid out against us, we have to find it in ourselves to deal with the most important problem first. Because our inability to do that, because of the divisiveness that they have injected into our brains, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be division and separation. Of course, that's why they threw a bunch of things together that don't belong together, so that this very thing would occur, and that there'd be, we don't trust our neighbor, but we trust their science, we trust their medical. Like, this is seriously a problem here. We have to do something, because we're not going to be able to have any chance. You saw the drones, that's just one aspect. You see what's happening, the merger. You know all the surveillance. Do you think they're just going to let us play on, the stage of life and be online? And there's only so much of this shit in this facade and this theater that they're going to bother continuing to produce for us, to keep us in the delusion and the distraction that they're not the evil ones. They're gonna get tired of it when they don't have to have us around at all anymore. And then there's gonna be another event like there was in old America, where, wow, look at all that beautiful architecture, and then they replace it with all this garbage. This disposable world. Where did all the adults go? So we're not gonna be saying that, because we're not gonna be here. says man going viral. What the fuck? Man going viral showing his 1973 Chrysler. It's a green machine. It's a mean machine. It's big and lean and olive green. That's not really olive green, but that's how the song goes by what's his name? Sugar Ray. Man is going viral for showing his 1973 Chrysler that got hit by a modern car and barely took any damage. Look at the fucking thing over there. There you go. Took his plate off. That's about it. And it says Spy 635. That's a beauty. The other person who hit him, because they rear-ended him, he probably had shitty tires because it's wet, it looks like. He should be publicly caned for putting any kind of damage on a piece of beautiful artisan handcrafted. It's not really any of that stuff. I'm just being funny, but something as nice as this piece of crap had no right trying to put a bruise on it. And the images sparked a huge debate about how cars were built in decades ago. What had I been saying? Did anybody need to see that? Like, has anybody not gone to a classic car show and seen the degradation, the communistic output of vehicles where they just less and less for your money, more and more things you never asked for? That's a good spot. I like that shot. The invasion of privacy in order to drive. And we think that do we honestly think is for, road safety? What epidemic of road unsafe driving is it because they're going to initiate the vaccines in people and activate whatever they got injected with, and they're all going to get retarded behind the wheel? Well, whatever. That's another whole other thing. I don't think that's what it is. Sorry, but they don't want you to drive, period. And they want it to be hell and unfortunate and completely limited in every way. Something that you bought, deciding when it's going to work for whatever reason, arbitrarily it decides for you whether or not you can go anywhere. And of course, that's remote access too. So they can select who gets to do things. And then they can enforce carbon footprint bullshit. And sorry, your social credit score doesn't say you can leave today or have food or feed your family. This is the world that they're going to impose upon us. The infrastructure's there. But yeah, I love older cars. I think prior to the let me think. There's a certain, like, 50s, the late 50s vehicles were pretty good still. And I would say, like, yeah, probably the mid to late 50s cars are pretty good. But I mean, I'm sure there was a degradation post-Civil War. Post World War II as well. I just can't think off the top of my head besides a Zephyr, like any and maybe was DeSoto back then? I don't know. It's usually the 50s that are the best cars that I've seen that I like. BlackRock just bought. So here it goes. BlackRock just bought 50,000 homes for $300,000 each. 50,000 homes. The buying power of something that prints its own money and will receive it from, that thing that prints it over it's the Bank of England, City of London, Federal Reserve. They select who dominates you, and they don't have to have any type of intellect or cleverness or ingenuity or imagination. They just have to be dedicated to the cult and one of their boys. So why do we continue to play the system where we know that at any given time there's going to be a very evil individual who's going to dominate over your life if you get on their radar? Or if you don't, if you just happen to live in a neighborhood they decided to fuck with. They then sold them to themselves for $700,000 for 3 of them. That person didn't really write that well, but your neighborhood value just doubled overnight and you are not able to live there anymore. Well, if you already have a mortgage, then technically you just got a shit ton of equity. Or I feel like you've paid it off or whatever. But maybe property taxes is what they're saying. I guess that would be a factor. But as far as if you're already in your home, it's like your neighborhood implies that you already own or you're already dwelling in a home in that neighborhood. Your neighborhood isn't like that thing that you look at from the park bench with your newspaper as your blanket, right? Am I being silly here or what? It's like Back to the Future, the car drives. Never mind. Pretty drunk drivers. Your neighborhood value just doubled overnight and you're not able to live there anymore. Well, your children won't be able to buy a house unless you hand it off to them, probably. This is how this massive company is destroying the American dream for more power. Again, because you just stopped with the American dream part. Bad writing. Step 1, they target middle-class neighborhoods with growth potential. They show up with all-cash offers, 20 to 30% over asking. Regular families, they never stood a chance. It would have to be more than 20 to 30% for somebody to just up and take my home. Especially in the market where you know it's going to cost you a shit ton to get it. You obviously have to live somewhere else. Like double it, bitch. You're you got Jew money. Give me some of that Jew money. There you go. The young couple buying their first home. That's the young couple buying their first home. They only waited 70 years. Outbid by a corporation with unlimited money. Well, it's not really an auction, but I get what you mean by offers. I get it. The elderly couple who lived there 40 years, crushed by rising taxes they can't afford. Well, again, I'm not 100% sure that the tax, it depends on where you are as far as the property taxes go. And why are we paying property taxes anyway? You're renting your life. You've already been on a rental system. You own nothing and be happy. Well, that's already happened, in case you didn't know. That happened in the Protocols of Learned Elders of Zion, which sounds very much like the Fabian Society's credo, because it's all the same shit. It sounds very much like the UN, their manifesto / charter. It sounds like the Communist Manifesto. It sounds like the doctrines of freaking Freemasons. It sounds like the Jesuits. It's all the same freaking entity. Should we? Do you want to go over the protocols sometime? I think we should look into the 1791, I think is. Let me see. John Robison, Proofs of a Conspiracy. And I may be Jon. Robison. Well, there it is. There's the book right there. It was 1798, it looks like. Yep. Printed for T. Dobson, number 41. So when was the first edition? Because it came out in Europe first. Anyway. Proofs of a conspiracy against the religions and governments of Europe carried on in the secret meetings of the Freemasons, Illuminati, and reading societies. Right. This is a really important one to remember, because the Royal Society, reading societies, all the intellectuals, they infiltrated. All the royals. So they needed to have that authority touch to their plans. They had to have those people, even if they were ethnic Europeans, and they would find one of them. They would find a couple of them in that family that were on a shitty, sinister path. There's John Robison, September 5th, 1797 in Edinburgh. Something in French. But yeah, this is a really interesting read, and I did cover some of it in my book, Priestcraft Beyond Babylon, which, by the way, we got 2 orders this past month. One of them showed up today, so it's going out, and then I just got another order for another one, a hardcover, so that one should be here soon enough, I guess, according to, as far as Amazon goes. And so, yeah, I still do have them, and there's So like I could still supply them if you want it. It's on my website. You don't have to get it from me though. There's also links for you to get it directly. So there's that. But we should look into this. And what else was I talking about here? Oh yeah, the protocols. We can go over the protocols, the proofs of a conspiracy. We can go over Samuel Morse's book, Morse code. Samuel Morse's book. Do you guys know about that one? I don't know what it was called. Is it Morse or Morris? Is it Morse code? Yeah, it's Morse. That's why. I thought so. Foreign conspiracy. That's the one. Yeah, so it's foreign conspiracy against the liberties of the United States. Now he's talking about it from the Roman Catholics being crypto or actual Jesuits / Illuminati or Frankist Jesuits. Does that make sense? And that's in the Internet Archive too. Foreign conspiracy against the liberties of the United States. And he talks about how, you know, the switch from the Holy Roman Empire from into Austria under Franz, because he was Franz II or Francis II to Franz I when he went to Austria, and that the Leopold Society was basically a cover or a like a recruiting or a training ground for infiltrators to come to America. And because of our liberties of acceptance of all religions and all that stuff, they take advantage of that. They take advantage of all of our positive attributes, just like the Jews do. And under the cover of Roman Catholicism, which is exactly what our people as Protestants try to get the hell away from because of the iron fist lack of self-determination. Like the whole idea of the Counter-Reformation War coming to America to chase us didn't sit well with Samuel Morse, who had a really good point. And this again is still that same type of intrigue and like the insurgents that are also tied in with foreign banking hands. The Holy See and the Rothschilds have had a relationship for too long. So it's all very interesting. It's all very interesting. We're getting hit. We got hit from so many different directions. That's not surprising that there's a Christian Zionism when you have, you know, both wings of the or both major wings of the Abrahamic, at least the institutional religions, being so closely related as far as their hatred for us. So those would be something, and yeah, so maybe we'll read those. And like I said, I will probably most certainly put this. Why do I keep losing it? Well, it doesn't matter. I sure as hell don't know where it is now, but it should just have another tab like that. Oh, it's because it's not showing anything at all. This will be probably on the Patreon tomorrow when I go through it. I can do it I got to get to the elliptical here soon, but let's do a couple more of these. All right, so they sell a few properties to shell companies they also own. These fake inflated sales become the new market price. And just like that, your neighborhood values double overnight, but you can't afford to live there anymore. That's how, but it's only because of the system that they've installed too. Like, why would that be a thing? I know that's how they do when you do an appraisal, it goes based off of similar homes selling in your area and what they think the market value would be when you get an appraisal done. But having one or two anomalies like that, you can have one high anomaly, but if you have multiple ones in a close area, then that's going to affect your property. So when he says they sell 3 back, I don't think that that would be pretty closely clustered zone there. You'd have to have a decent amount of them, I would think, of the same. Like this is a 3-bedroom. You don't compare it to a 4-bedroom or a 5-bedroom or whatever. This has 2 This has 2 baths. This one has 4. You know, you have to get really closely in order for them to actually. Otherwise, it's a throwout. Otherwise, the appraisal can be challenged. Otherwise, the bank might say that's not really what we're gonna. You know what I mean? So, I was in mortgages for like 5 years. So I'm not proud of that, but I was. Anyhow, it's a stupid system. The whole thing's fake and gay. So demand, I think, is really the one thing that gives anything value. Because if there's crazy people who want to pay money for a collectible, and they think it's rare, scarcity is usually fake, then let them pay whatever they want to pay for it. Then people say, well, that's what it's worth. Well, that same comic book, let's call it, might be worth jack shit to you because you wouldn't pay that much for it. So it's relative to whoever has the desire. Like who are you engaging with for a sale? Somebody who wants it or somebody who doesn't give a fuck about it? Because it has 2 different values based on that, right? Somebody who just absolutely has this twitch about just having to have that precious versus somebody who's like, it's a fucking comic book. You know? Property taxes skyrocket. Rents go from $1,800 to $25,000. That's about what I pay on the second side, about $23,000. So BlackRock ends up renting the same homes. That's the whole house, though. It's like 2,400 square feet. So BlackRock ends up renting the same home back to the same families they priced out in the first place. They create the crisis, then they sell you the solution. By 2030, corporations are projected to own 60% of all single-family homes in America, and there'll be way too many homes with all that many dead people. They're not going to need all those homes unless they're going to just make a whole bunch more Jews, which they probably are already working on that. Looks like Curious Joel and Lakewood or whatever is next to Lakewood is like a giant Minecraft respawner for these spiders, so they just keep on popping them out. Your kids won't buy a home. They'll rent one from Wall Street. This isn't a housing crisis. It's a wealth transfer. Well, yeah, through a scam, again, because paper that they can print. That's it. And that's why people who get filthy rich on the internet are because they've been selected too. Oh, go figure that the Paul brothers are half Jewish. Wow, who would have thought? Who would have thought Aiden Ross with 17 million followers on Twitch and 2.1 on that shit fucking site Kick would be Jewish? No way! Shut up! Come on! Leave it alone. Really? Breaking news in Israel. An Israeli father. This is disgusting. Guys. Yeah, I think this is what I'm thinking of. Yes, it is. Why is it? Oh, yeah, they are there. Viewer discretion. An Israeli father who lives in occupied Palestine repeatedly raped his 5-year-old daughter for over an entire year. Video recorded the heinous crimes and shared them on Telegram. Petah Tikva man. That's not his name. That's a place. I didn't read that correctly the first time. Accused of... That doesn't really help hide what they're saying there. Accused of lightsabering, that's what it looks like, raping a 5-year-old daughter, repeatedly sending recordings on Telegram. The defendant allegedly committed the sexual offenses in the family home and in his daughter's bedroom, among other locations, and recorded his acts on his phone because Jews are evil, and their own are not. This is typical, normal frankest behavior. This is typical normal cult behavior. The mother-son cult. Ever hear that? Yeah, the son and the mother. You got it. It's exactly what it sounds like. A Petah Tikva resident is accused of repeatedly. We already heard that. All right, the defendant allegedly committed the offenses. Didn't we just read all that? Telegram app. He also allegedly consulted other people online on how to best sedate his daughter while he assaults her. Hundreds of, P3DOs, not R2D2, but P3DO, media files were found on the defendant's phones, including images and videos of the offenses being committed on young boys and girls as well as babies. Babies. This is them. This is them. This is an incident. It's an isolated incident. It's insight into what they are. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of good stuff here we got to get into. But I'm tired. Aren't you tired? Aren't you tired? It sounds like a commercial. Aren't you tired? Well, I am. It's almost midnight here. And I'm sure it means it's way freaking later where you are. So please do me this favor. If you love what you see here, I mean, guys, if you're watching these shows and you're not following the channel, please do that because that helps out a lot. Okay, if you are enjoying this content, or if you're not enjoying the content, click the like or the dislike. All right, and then also leave a comment. You could say "fuck you." You could say "good show." You could say bananas. You could say whatever you want. You could say, yeah, I don't know. You come up with a word. And just add a comment. The more engagement these things get, the more they're recommended to others. And I want that 5.19 thousand followers to be 25,000. Because you know what? Honestly, you're not even considered. You're not taken seriously by the people who would offer you things that would actually make this a sustainable activity until you get to like literally 50K. And that's most people say, for those of you who have 100K or higher, contact us, blah, blah, blah. So I'm saying half of that. So that means I got to go 5 times more than what I got here. 10 times more than what I got here. So every little bit helps. You don't want to like support the show like this. You don't, and if you already have your hot sauce and you already got your 90 essential nutrients, if you want to just be cool, you can support the show by liking it, following it if you're not already following it, and then sharing the video links to others so that we can all be awesome. Yeah? Okay. There you go. Or you can also do a repost on Rumble you can do a repost. See that thing right there says repost? You can also repost mine onto like your whatever. You might have to actually create what's called the channel first. It's not that hard to do. It doesn't require anything really. You just come up with a name. And then you can just repost. So it says by request, and yes, this was literally requested when I mentioned that my daughter was turning 10 in July, because we went through the whole thing about July 2nd being the real Declaration of Independence, and then it didn't. It took 2 days to make it official, or whatnot. But it actually was July 2nd. That's the actual date. But July 4th is also the fuck. Why did I do that to myself? The solar aphelion. Did I say that right? Let me say it. No, I just say it right. Why are they doing that? Yeah, there you go. Solar aphelion. I did say it right. So the solar aphelion is a specific point in an astronomical body's orbit when it's the farthest distance from the sun. For Earth, this event happens annually in early July. The perihelion is when you're the closest. The app Helios, right, is when you're the farthest away. So when you're most independent from the sun is on Independence Day. That's pretty interesting. Yeah. Anyway, there's a Gifts and Go. People asked, as I told it was my daughter's birthday coming up, and they said, how can we send her a birthday gift? I said, you can use that if you want. So there's that. And I said, one way to ensure your favorite indie channels remains is to follow, subscribe, and leave likes and comments. The engagement and follow count determines whether a video is recommended. Thank you. Even a single word in the comments helps, especially on Rumble and YouTube. Today is the day we make certain we're certain about what we're pretty sure we're certain about. Yeah, I left that on from yesterday. And then there's these channels. There's the YouTube for the hot sauce, which I showed you the video that I just posted today. It's only 27 seconds long. And I'll probably make a couple more. I think I'm going to do one for each hot sauce and describe it. But I'm also going to try to do a running the gauntlet thing. And line up a few of the hottest ones I have and then run the gauntlet. You know what I mean? Go from one to the other. Kind of like hot ones, but my sauces, I guess, really, but it'll be called something different and there'll be differences to it. First of all, I won't have famous people because I don't get why they do that or how they do that. But anyway, the one with Bill Murray was really good. So this is the website for the hot sauce. Bam. And then if you go to the videos and you pass over that one, this is the new this is the new video there. And then before that, there's that guy right there. And yeah, so there you go. But if the menu's right here, you click that. You actually don't have to click. If you click on the web on this link, it'll bring you right here. Dr. Glidden's membership, 25% off. You can do it on the monthly or you can do it on the annual. Much better value on the annual, and it's less than $1 a day to avoid the criminal doctors that will kill you over time by poisoning and really bad recommendations. So I think it's worth it. You're going to end up spending more to get bad stuff happening to you. Code BB5 is for the Azure well. So for the 90 essential nutrients in the whole food version, whole food multivitamin #1, bam, right here. Listen, I'm telling you, until you've done this, you're not gonna even understand that there is a difference in how you could feel and how your body responds to things so much better. Like for me, exercise, having the energy, weightlifting, my appearance. I've shown you pictures of me when I wasn't on the 90 essential nutrients, when I was out of shape, when I had man boobs. Like this is very, very helpful for overall vitality and in health. You just can't go on for very long without having the things that you need. And if you think it's all coming from your food, well, the Jews made sure that that's not the case because they disrupted nature. They have been attacking farms and farmers forever. And I explained to you the origins of that. Our first encounter, we innovated by showing the people that they were abusing how to sustain agriculture, which made them independent from them. And that's where the hatred began. And it's the same fucking fight right up to now. Whole food multivitamin right here. Boom. Alaskan cod liver oil for your essential fatty acids. This whole food multivitamin also has some trace minerals in it, which is great. You definitely need to get these two things. There's 4 things that are essential for the 90 essential nutrients. The super, super duper important one is the one that lasts you 100 days. So that's like 3 months and 10 days. And that is the Fulvic-Humic blend. You get this once every 3 months or so because it'll last that long. You're only taking 1/8 of a teaspoon. If you take it night and day, because you're like, I don't know, let's say you're active like me and you do 4 miles a day on the elliptical and you're out in the hot sun or whatever, you will burn through your nutrients, absolutely. So if you take it twice a day, then it'll last you half that time, a month and a half or so. But this is the Fulvic-Humic blend. So there's the antioxidants in there, and it's super absorbable plant-derived minerals that are in the proper form for your body to absorb. This is the thing, minerals are the thing that your body is usually missing the most of. So this is super important. That's super important. Okay. And then the last thing here is and this one lasts me a long time, the IP6 Supreme with inositol. It's practically empty now. I could probably shake out another day's worth in here, but the IP6 Supreme with inositol is this guy right here. And that's your magnesium, calcium, phosphorus, and inositol to help balance your iron to copper ratio so you don't have chronic fatigue issues and sore joints. So in line with that, I also I also use or add on the core copper. And my daughter and I take the whole food multivitamin and core copper together every morning. Well, she does it. She takes those two, and then I take all of them. So the core copper is good for your elastin. You need it for elastin so that your body can, it's like elasticity, right? For your stomach lining, so you don't get hernias. It's also for, it's not the myelin sheathing of your nerves. That was the cholesterol that you need that for. But also hair color, and in addition to that, ATP energy for your cells in the mitochondria. Your cellular energy is directly dependent on having mineral copper in the usable form, the form that your body can utilize. And what's the last one? I forgot. Help me out. I forgot all of a sudden. What was the other one? Oh yeah, so that your arteries don't burst, because the same type of elastin is in there, is making up the lining of your pumping. Like you have muscles on the outside of some of your vessels and stuff like that squeeze and contract, squeeze and let go. So that's expanding and contracting. So if it's not elastic, they burst. And then my grandmother went something similar to that. So it does happen. All right, so there you go. And then that's that. Use code BB5 at checkout, Bravo 5. Anything that you purchase on here, if you use that code, you'll get the discount. And it's the activated B complex is in sale again. Nice. All right, so there you go. All right, trying to help you out. I looked for the best, most absorbable nutrients. And Dr. Glidden and his Eiffel Health from Longevity is one way, but it's also a lot of this. And if you're just getting into it and you're just now learning about your 90 essential nutrients and why they're super important, especially for defending the stressors that they're throwing at us constantly between all the poisons and toxins in our environment, in our food, in our water. Well, this is obviously more important than ever. And this is the whole food version, which for me, it just seems like it makes more sense. The Eiffel Health is from Longevity, and some of their stuff is a little bit, I love it. It's great. I have it. I just opened up another Beyond Osteo Effects, my last one today. I'm not poo-pooing on it. I'm just saying for the amount of this, you can do it for just about half of that a month. And I know that probably is appealing to people. And this stuff is great. And this is what I use. Okay, so I have the whole food multivitamin, the cow copper. I have the IP6 Supreme on my desk here. I have the Beyond Osteo Effects, and I had the plant-derived minerals from Eiffel. And now that the plant-derived minerals are gone, I'm going to grab a Fulvic-Humic blend from Azure, because that's where you get your minerals. Either the plant-derived minerals in the liquid form, but the Azure will last you much longer. That one bottle will last you about a month if you're just one person taking it for the plant-derived minerals. But his jar, when you're taking 1/8 of a teaspoon a day, it'll last you 100 days. So it's very good. And code BB5. All right. Once you feel the vitality and you lose your aches and pains and all the other things that you deal with without, and you probably, if you're like me, you just deal with it, and then you don't even realize that you're dealing with something after a while. You kind of live with it, right? But when it goes away, and then you think about it, you're like, oh shit, yeah, that isn't a thing anymore. Or just feeling like shit when you wake up. I used to have this issue where when I was lifting weights or something like that, if I was exerting myself, I would feel like this weird skin crawling thing at first until I overcame it and had to keep on doing what I was doing. But it was like an overall uncomfortable feeling all throughout my body, like telling me to stop, basically. But it wasn't a good idea to stop. So I don't get that feeling nearly as much. Like if I first wake up in the morning, I just grab my weights and I start doing shoulder shrugs. Like maybe I'll feel that for a little bit, but it's not nearly like it used to be. Like there was some other reason why my body was saying, you can't handle this right now. This is not a good idea for you because you're so depleted, and then when you have all that stuff, you're ready to rock. So it's a big difference. It's a big difference. BB5 right there. And then if you want to be one of the cool kids, you can hang out with me and Dr. Glidden over there and the other 160 people who have signed up under this link. And I need a hot sauce breakdown. You need a lot, don't you? You wanted us to give you a fucking link for the website, which I told you to send me an email. You never did. Yeah, I bet you dogs do hate the fireworks and loud noises. There's descriptions on the website. As far as making small videos of each, yeah, I definitely am going to do that. When I have time, and that's going to be probably tomorrow. I want to start doing one for each, at least. But I want to keep them short too. I have a tendency of babbling, as you can tell. All right, we're good. Good night. I don't think I missed anybody. Oh, it didn't end. What the hell's going on? It's doing gay shit for now. Hold on. Are you serious?